The NFL season is here, and the Lockdown Defense Sports Network welcomes you to another NFL season. We are here to give you a front row seat to the pulse of the NFL. Join us every Tuesday night as we break down the latest news, dissect the hottest headlines, and fire off fearless predictions that might shape the future of the league. From the locker room drama to game-changing plays, we're just not watching football, we're living it. As the entire hit squad with young RG Robert Garcia, Coach Mike Dubb, the real AG Alex Givens, and yours truly, Coach Defense, joins forces with the NFL Nation Live crew, Ref Guru, Violator, and the Saudi pirate himself, Captain Jack Rackham. So buckle up, because this isn't your average recap. This is the Lockdown Blitz, where the takes are bold, the insights are gritty, and the passion runs deep. Let's go. So all my heavy hitters and lockdown defenders, welcome to the Lockdown Blitz. I'm your host, Coach Defense. Joining me today, the hit squad, young RG Robert Garcia, the real AG Alex Givens, the NFL Nation Live crew, the Violator man himself, and the man, the myth, the legend himself, Ref Guru. Gentlemen, what's happening? Week 12 is here. Week 11 is in the books. We are wrapped up, and we have nothing to report. We don't know anything. It's still that is the theme.
It's
of the
even worse.
Yeah, right. If you thought you knew anything, you really don't know anything now. It's getting more and more unpredictable, to say the least. We have no front runners in my book. No clear front runners. Everybody's flawed. Anybody can be had. It's all up for grabs, and you can't predict anything that's happened to the season thus far. If you had it on your bingo card in the preseason, I want to see it because I think you're lying. I really think you're lying because, again, nobody had the Patriots at the top of the AFC East. The Bears in the NFC North. I mean, come on. The only thing we could probably predict that's kind of tried and true is the Rams and the Eagles. That's probably about it. But again, that's
literally.
Yeah, I mean, and in the Rams case, it's a tight race. I mean, they're literally a player or two away from being second in their division.
That's right. Wow.
So,
missed kick away or a made kick away, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
However you want to shake it. But yeah, man, let's go around the room. I hate to say it, this room is full of a bunch of losers this week, unfortunately.
Again.
I just want to get that out the way right now. Cool Cat, what's happening? What's going on, good brother?
Cat.
Listen, man, it's a room full of losers this week.
Cool Cat,
yeah, so we're gonna give our takes on how we feeling, but I think you kind of know. But let's start with young RG. Robert Garcia, good sir, how you feeling?
Oh man, yeah. We all took our lumps this week. I think some took worse than others, but no looking in any direction in particular. But there was some worse losses than some other teams on this panel. I'll say that.
They just said they all got the belt off for us, and just how long we were bad.
I saw a GIF somebody tweeted on Twitter about somebody just straight whooping it and obviously putting the Jags and the Chargers, logos over it. I'm like, yeah, man, we deserve it. That was a rough game.
ETA, not in the good way.
Yeah, we were on the wrong receiving end of the BTA.
Yeah, indeed. We gave one on Sunday to come right back on the following Sunday and get one. This is brutal warrior right here. It's cold world out here, man. Overall out here, but at least we got a bye week to get right. We'll see how things.
Yeah, we get to sulk with that for a week.
I know that's the part that hurts badly. You want to just it's kind of like the Colts loss. We kind of just, you had a short week. You had to get rid of it real quick. Yep. Don't let it fester. Come out and play good against the Vikings. You got 12 days to stew on this one. 12 days of stew on that one. I guess, put some Ambisol or whatever you need to do on your rear. Neosporin, whatever you got to do to heal those wounds up, because it's going to be a long road to the next game. And ironically enough, we play the Raiders next.
Oh, great.
Yeah, exactly. But we're not going to stew on that too long. Real AG, let's give us what's going on, good sir. How you feeling?
Just so much pain, man. Pain and sorrow. No,
one of us. One of us.
Right.
Is this what it feels like? I don't want any part of it. No.
No. In the club.
Yeah. No, obviously, not the best of weeks for the Chiefs. Really, not the best of the season. But as we were kind of talking pre-show, I know we'll get into it later. But now it's kind of an exciting time because they can't lose anything else. So their backs against the wall. We'll see what they're truly made of,
Officially. Indeed. Violator, good sir, what's happening out there?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. Just recovering from the road trip. And you see I got no voice, but pain, I'm going to echo what Alex said, pain, and I'm going to put suffering on mine. Pain and suffering.
Yes.
That's been my year, man. So,
yes.
Hey, but we tough it out for that bright day, man.
Indeed. Rev Guru, good sir, the man, myth, the legend. How you doing? Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Good to be here. Dealing with a lot of stuff. Hopefully most of that's over. Hey, the Colts had a bye week, but still lead the NFL in scoring. How about that? I don't know if you all saw it, but the Panthers beat the Falcons, right? And then did you see the Panthers media? They showed a picture of the Falcons stadium filled with cat litter, and it was pretty cool.
I did not.
I'm like, boy, the Titans media group, man, they met their match now because they got to go find out, what's going on.
I got to go look at this now.
Yeah. No, it's funny.
You piqued my interest.
It's funny, man. Yeah, they filled the because I think they swept them now, right? Anyway. Yeah, so
they did. They shut them out last time.
Yeah. So now the Titans, who went around and asked people who the football logo was, the Panthers media team, man. Now they've set the bar a little bit higher, so it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. All right, good stuff, man. So after we got all our pleasantries out of how bad we did this week, let's talk NFL, man. We got Ref here. I appreciate him joining us today. So, we're going to start off the show ceremoniously, with our segment we like to call Ask the Ref. So we got a good one this week, and this is definitely a controversial topic that I wanted to talk to him about. And I've been waiting with bated breath for him to join because I really want to get his take on it and get some insight as well. First and foremost, there's been a lot of, I guess you can say, fodder, controversy, a lot of chatter online about the referees and their, let's just say, inconsistency. We'll call it that. Right? We'll be nice, right?
Yeah.
So, now people have, we've had the NBA, come out with their scandal for betting. We've had, some rumblings that the NFL put out an announcement, I guess you could say, of sorts, to kind of remind people what the policy is, things of that nature. Deeper investigations now in the NBA. We're getting cell phones confiscated and all that jazz. So, I'm assuming at some point this is going to get towards the NFL. They're going to kind of lead into what the NFL is doing, kind of look into it, because all the big sports brands are getting probed at this point in time. So, Ref, for starters, as a official in the NFL, to be licensed to be an NFL referee, do you or do you not have to sign an agreement about betting? Let's start there.
Well, the short answer to the question is yes, you do.
Okay. Okay, so you do have to sign an agreement in regards to betting. Now, what does that agreement entail? Did that entail that you promise legally not to bet on games that you are officiating, or period?
It's actually the period part of that. And the whole gambling thing, it's been around for a long time, but it's evolved quite rapidly, quite frankly. So what we have now is a situation where policies that govern gambling, particularly around the officials, did their job, if you will, back in the day. Up until fairly recently, then all of a sudden we had DraftKings and FanDuel and the Vegas stuff. Then we had this huge change, right? All of a sudden now you have a team in Las Vegas, which was taboo prior, but now you have the league openly endorsing the gambling side of it, right? Where before it was something that it was the elephant in the room. It was something they didn't really want to talk about. They had policies for players, coaches, officials, whatever. And then when it kind of blew up, they kind of had to get the policies back in order. I can tell you that many years ago when I was in there, it wasn't quite the same as it is now. And by that, I mean, we were not allowed to have any social media without approval. Now, some of the white hats, some of the referees could have social media because they're the face of the officials in a way, if you will. They really didn't speak outside of what the league wanted them to say, but they could have a quote presence if they had because they're oftentimes they're business owners or lawyers or whatever. If they had a LinkedIn account, that was probably okay. But social media, think how far we've come now. Social media was considered the taboo place that you couldn't go. It wasn't really so much about gambling. It was just about exposure in general, right? Now we're in a situation where is not as prolific through all that. And I can't go into the exact details. But let's put some hypotheticals out there and you can draw your own conclusions. I'd be very surprised if the officials aren't instructed about the dangers of gambling with regards to, the integrity of the game, how it's going to impact their future, if they're involved in it. I'd be very surprised if there weren't checks going on throughout the season. Keep in mind that as an official, you could be subject to drug tests. You could be subject to send me your bank statement type of stuff.
Wow.
So it's, there's a very fine line between your personal privacy between you and the real world and your personal privacy with regards to what the league has access to. Remember, all these officials have gone through a very, very deep and extensive background check. And I can assure you one thing for sure is if you don't pass background, you're not getting a paycheck. Okay. And those backgrounds are like, we're going to go talk to your third grade teacher and find out if, anything going on. When I went through my background and I sat in front of my investigator and we went through everything and he says, well, we're almost done, and I'm sweating puddles. Right. And I don't even really have anything to worry about, but it's a very intimidating situation. He goes, well, we're almost done here. I just have one more thing. I said, okay. And he said, we're going to talk to pretty much everybody in your background. Who's going to be the one to tell us that you smoked weed?
Oh.
And I'm like, I've never smoked any weed. And he's like, okay, look, you got one more chance to tell the truth because when we find that person that says that you smoked weed, you're done. I said, no one's going to be able to honestly tell you that I've never smoked any weed. Okay, tell us the person who's going to tell you that you've done, this drug, that drug, blah, 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 blah. And I said, sorry, but no one will be able to honestly tell you the truth because I've never done those things. And he said, come on, everybody's done something. I said, nope, I'm sorry. And he goes, well, he says, I'm going to mark it down as negative, but don't be surprised if, you get nixed. And I'll shorten the whole story by telling you I did a paycheck. So, the officials, the league, let me restate that. I'd be very surprised if the league does not have agreements with the gambling sites that if any official's name or pseudonym shows up as some sort of I placed a bet, the league's not going to know. Now, does that mean that the officials are not targeted? No, they probably are by some folks. Does it cover? Are they able to cover all of the like under the table stuff? Like, we're not FanDuel, we're dual fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw a flag on. So, can you stop everything? No. But you've seen with the NBA that if they want to get to you, they can.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really up to the individual official to maintain the integrity of the game. But the league's got a pretty tight handle on it. And I think that they spend a lot more time scrutinizing that whole process now than they used to. Early days, you signed an agreement, and then you went and worked your 16 games, and next year you signed another agreement. I'm not saying they're signing agreements now every Wednesday, but I wouldn't be surprised if the league isn't actively looking for some evidence. So then you run into the problem like, well, if you're an official, what about your brother-in-law who now has a problem, right? And he's like, hey, I really need some help here. If you could just throw one flag against so-and-so, I could get this debt cleared. So the officials have, it's a two-way street. They have a front and a back channel. And if they're approached by something, then they would have to come forward and say, my brother-in-law approached me about throwing a flag. I need you to, go fix that. You don't want to get your brother-in-law in trouble, but, it's a very difficult situation. So that's why they try to keep the officials' information as much as possible under wraps. It doesn't mean you don't know, where they are, who they live. Some, referees have had rocks thrown through their window because somebody didn't like a call they made. But so we're still real people living real lives out in the real world. But while it falls short of actually being, quote, regulated, I'd be very surprised if there weren't some very, very interesting protocols, if you will, for managing the officials and making sure that the gambling's not taking place on the field for those wearing the stripes. The player's a different situation, coach, different situation. I can't speak to that. I can only tell you what I know from the officiating side.
Gotcha. And that's been the topic of conversation, because everybody's looking at it from a perspective that calls are very obscure in certain cases, and they kind of link it towards being, a betting connotation being behind it and that kind of thing. I guess you can say what's the word I want to use? A convenient flag, at convenient time.
That's the problem. That's the problem we have now. When before it was just team bias, right? Yeah. It was the Raider rule, if you will. It was team bias. Now with the gambling aspect of it, what are the fans supposed to think when the NFL is not transparent about what they're doing? Right. I don't know if you guys saw the Washington Miami game. There was a DPI flag in that game. That wasn't DPI in a YFL game. I have no idea what they're doing sometimes out there. But what are the fans supposed to think? And if you're not talking to them, if you're not explaining what's going on, if you're not transparent, people are going to draw their own conclusions. I think those are, to your references there, Coach, those are bad optics. And I think it's detrimental to the game. But apparently the NFL chooses at the moment to look the other way, and I think that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, there you have it. So I glean basically upon what you laid out there that they have policies that are pretty much in line with most other major sports entities, right? NBA
and colleges and
colleges as well. Yeah. It's just a matter
they
of
won't be broken.
True.
That's right.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That doesn't mean it won't be circumvented, i.e., what the NBA is going through now.
Yeah.
Based
a few times with the NBA.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Now getting their cell phone records confiscated and see what they're doing. So you said they're checking apps, they're doing all kind of stuff. I mean, this is like almost like a federal, actual, criminal investigation type of thing that they're going through.
I'll tell you what, though, and Cap knows this from being on the other show, as Wayne does as well, that we used to jab the officials a lot because of a lot of the nepotism. But to a certain extent, that is by design. If you are a father, son, or brother combination, do you really want to hurt your family by being the dirty rock, if you will? So while nepotism has its downsides, the NFL has kept a lot of their infrastructure, fingers crossed, intact because of the brotherhood, sisterhood culture that they have now.
Mhm.
They're at risk of that, if you will, by expanding. And that was one of the reasons why they were so slow to expand in ways in broadening out the diversity, if you will, of their officiating community, because that's one of the risks. And you don't know exactly what you're getting. You're not really sure that the newbies, if you will, are going to buy into the control factors. But organically, in the past, that's been behind the scenes part of the reason of, your son's coming up. He'll be an NFL official. Part of it too is because you just had good training. If your dad was an official and you want to be an official, there we have Sean Hockley, right, among other things, right. We had the Steratore brothers. I mean, it's on and on and on. The Colemans and all that, Paganellis, and so there's good stock there, and you don't want to waste that. But there's a lot to be said in the cultural. What's the word I'm looking for? The just the ability to bring those folks along and say, this is how we do it here. So
right. So if your dad is doing business a certain way, likely the son will conduct business a certain way. In other words,
you're in big trouble if you don't. Jerome Bettis said it really well in his induction speech to the Hall of Fame. He said to his son, I gave you a good name, don't mess it up.
There you go.
And that goes a long way in the officiating community. A long way.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. That's a good point. Okay. Yeah, well, that definitely shed some light on my questions about the idea of what's the protocol in regards to betting and the referees, because now I'm thinking to the point where this is such a mess. I mean, it's almost, it might have just been persona non grata, just those things you don't speak about when it was illegal, but you might have been better off when it was illegal to bet, because it seemed like making it illegal really just a more of a microscope on it than it was when it was illegal.
Yeah, in fact, the agreement that I signed back in 2012 was gambling at all. We couldn't have a fantasy football team.
Wow.
You couldn't gamble on tiddlywinks. In fact, we were not even allowed. I don't know what the protocol is at the current moment, but we were not even allowed to be seen or even enter a casino or any gambling establishment. If you were caught going into your neighbor's house to get a beer and they happened to be playing cards, whether you were playing or not, that was technically a violation of your code of ethics for being anything around gambling. So I'm just saying that if it was like that back in the day when gambling wasn't so prolific, it was all about social media and mail order scams and stuff like that, to where we are today. Like I said, I can't imagine that the protocols aren't pretty well dialed in.
It should be more strict now than they were.
Yeah, I think it probably is. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's safe to say that it is, and there's still a portion of you that the league has to wake up on Tuesday morning and go, are we good? And so there's still some of that. But so far they've been able to fend that off and, cross our fingers and, knock on wood, whatever, it'll stay that way. I don't think personally, as much as we like to rag on the refs sometime, I don't think personally that there's any bad seeds in there, that we have anything going on at the moment, but tomorrow's another day.
Fair enough. So to follow real quick, from your perspective, what do you think it does to the integrity of the game when you have these allegations, like what the NBA is going through now? So if that came over to the NFL and the referees may or may not be involved in it, what do you feel like that does to the integrity of the game?
I struggle with that personally. So I think it's a two front. It's the business side and it's my own personal opinion. My own personal opinion, quite frankly, Coach, is when the league decided that they were in their entertainment business, that threw everything out the window with regards to really protecting the integrity of the game. I've told this, Wayne's heard this before, we're really just one folding chair away from being a WWE. And I think the league comes out and says, oh yeah, protecting the integrity of the game is, our top priority. Is it really? You can't do that and look at all that garbage we're seeing every Sunday and not say anything about it.
Yeah.
So if they're going to continue the same training that they've had since 1974, they're going to continue to not have any transparency. They get what they deserve from the outside world perspective. And until they address the optics, which I think is really to the heart of your question, I think it only is going to get worse. And the reason why it gets worse is because if you don't address that now when you really don't have a problem, who's going to believe you when you have to address it because you did have a problem?
That's a great point. That is a great point. And my fear is that, it's kind of leaning towards the NBA. People are kind of checking out with the NBA already, and they had a betting scandal on top of that. It was going to make it worse for viewership and retention. Yep. I feel like that same stink or black cloud over the league what happened with the NFL as well, and it could really spiral down, and people will start checking out, be like, "Well, I can't trust the idea of this being a fair contest, so I'm not going to watch."
Yeah. Well, and how could you believe them if they come out? Let's say we had an issue this Sunday, and just as a hypothetical, they say, well, we didn't have that problem last Sunday. It just started this Sunday. Who's going to believe you? There's been no transparency except on this show. There's been no transparency to try to really explain what's going on, so that if you end up really did have a problem, you can't fix the damage control at that point. The damage is already done. And I think that the NFL's playing, if integrity is really where they say it is, I think they're playing with fire here to not present and do some of the transparency, have some transparency discussions, because otherwise people will not really believe them. They won't know if they're telling the truth or crying wolf. And that's really unfortunate, because I think that may be one of the things that damages the credibility, if not the integrity. They might survive, maybe, but certainly the credibility, which I think is two different things. But if you're not credible, your integrity might be called into question. And when the integrity issue gets brought up, it's usually about the officials. And if that's your last stand, that's a tough one if you end up with some sort of problem because you haven't been transparent ahead of time. If you've come out and said all these things, then when something happened, the fans would go, "You're right, I got you. You explained all that. We had a bad seed, but it's not, a problem." Right. How would the NFL be able to convince anybody, advertisers, fans, whoever, that they don't have some larger problem, just like, what everybody else is going through? So I think that's a challenge. I think they need to address that. I don't think that they will, and I think they're going to pay the consequences at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, the very smart companies and the ones that sustain themselves typically get out ahead of these things and address it head on before it gets ugly. And they haven't done it yet. And if they don't, you're right. It's definitely going to fall. You'll fall flat on your face in that regard when it all hits the fan.
I've always said you can control the narrative, or the narrative can control you. And B is not a very good place to be.
No, it's not. When the fit hits the shan, it goes everywhere. Trust and believe, it goes everywhere. There's never a situation where it doesn't spread like wildfire, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, which way do you want your chain yanked? I mean,
yeah.
And I that's the thing that bothers me the most, guys, particularly about the officiating, is that there's just they should be doing so much more that they're not. And if they really aren't in a position now, guys, where they're doing anything but resting on their laurels. Yeah. From an integrity and credibility standpoint. And all you need is one, and there's already enough stuff out there for people to start to speculate. And if speculation gets tied back to any truth whatsoever, whether TMZ does it or whether the New York Times does it, if it gets tied back to something, that's not going to end well, I don't think. And I think that bugs the snot out of me every Sunday, because then I see these calls and then we have these discussions about, well, was it not? Well, we can talk about the mechanics, the rules, and the football side of it, but in the back of your mind, there's always like, what else influenced that game? Yeah, it's hard for me to sit there when they throw the flag against Miami for the DPI call, and the first thing that goes on to my mind is, this is an international game. They want it close. They got to keep Washington in the ball game, so that's a good way to do it. Yeah. Right? And when you start having those thoughts, as opposed to whether or not the official had a good view of it, whether it was a good call, bad call, when your first thought is, well, they're trying to keep the international game exciting. I don't think that's the first place they should have fans talking about the officiating.
I agree.
It ought to be about the rules and the mechanics and positioning and what you saw, didn't see, could replay assist help. It should be that part of the discussion, not about whether or not somebody's faking it. So we may already be past the tipping point at this stage, and I hope that that's not the case. But it's a slippery slope from here on out, especially now that they've essentially endorsed the gambling part of it. Oh, and by the way, we'll put an 800 number down there if you have a gambling problem. Oh, great. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Let me bet on this game while I'm dialing 1-800,
Gambler.
FanDuel.
Yeah, gambler. Yeah,
Make sure you use promo code.
Yeah, exactly.
To get 20% off.
Promo code Hockley. Yeah.
Promo code it's rigged for 50% deposit bonus.
Yeah. Flag. That's
Yeah, that's funny.
Use promo code FLAG for or whatever. Yeah.
For your first month free. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or your first bet free. Yeah. Okay, good stuff. Well, gentlemen, do y'all have any questions about this topic for Ref before we take questions from the chat or other referee questions before we let him get out of here?
I just had something to follow up on that whole entertainment part because I've been given a real good speech about that's what it is from the media. And so I'm kind of like, I'm an old school fan, so I'm looking at it, is this whole, like Ref said, WWE, or is it the old NFL I grew up around? So it's and then I hear fans around me at the games like excited as hell. Like yesterday, there was a certain catch made, and this guy went berserk beside me. And so what are you so excited about? He says, "Hey man, I just won $12,000, man." I'm like,
wow,
right?
I'm like, what? I don't care about the game. I'm winning my bets, and I'm just like, is this the type of fans that come to the games now? It's like being
in Vegas, yes. In Vegas, I'm sure. I guarantee you, Vegas
every game is somebody by me that's got big money on something,
right? And
they go off at the craziest time, and I'm like, "What game are you watching?"
Right.
He's watching his bet.
My own.
Watching his own game. Yeah, right. It's crazy.
Wayne, that's a really good point, guys. If I just take 1 second, because what if you get to the point where the really good officials who really are trying to protect the integrity of the game to say, you know what, it's not worth it. I can't win, so to speak, not literally through gambling, but this is just crazy. There's no way that we can even do our job now, right? And then what are you going to end up with? A bunch of compromised officials running the show? This is a very dangerous situation we're in.
Very slippery slope. Very slippery slope.
And all you need is for those veterans who really are protecting the integrity of the game to say, this isn't worth it anymore.
Yeah.
The scrutiny that we get and all this nonsense, it used to be fun. It's not. I'm gonna give it up. And then I don't know where you go from there, because without the officials, there's no game. But if you're going to pull
integrity.
Yeah, exactly. There's not a lot of things, but
there's no integrity.
That's a scary place. I hope we don't go to, but
Well, I was going to add, it's some of it I think is like, you're right, Ref. It's the league resting on their laurels and not really operating in this digital social media era that we're in.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you could have, like you said, I don't think there's really any biased refs out there or anyone trying to make calls to progress their own motives or interests or whatever, but someone's always going to clip a play and post it and say, this is rigged, look at this. And then it takes, 10,000 retweets, and then then people just start buying into it. And it's, some of that where I think, the league definitely needs to be more transparent about the problems. And I feel like they kind of are, because I feel like there's more refs that get interviewed at the end of games about calls or explaining what they looked at. But I guess that was my question to you is, if you're put in charge of the NFL's new unit of restoring integrity in the league and being transparent about the refs, what would you do to go about that?
Before you answer that, Alex, I need you to stay out my brain, because I was going to suggest that if the NFL wants to sanction the Lockdown Defense Sports Network to have a show to be the front-facing, transparent voice of the NFL refs and NFL referees, please contact us and reach out to us. We will be happy to oblige if the money's right. So
Good plug,
Yeah.
man. Good plug. Good
A
plug.
wise man once said, "If you're good at something, never do it for free."
indeed. But yes, please go forth, ref. And I just wanted to shout that out real quick.
Wait a minute. If you're good at it, don't do it for free. What am I doing on this show? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding.
He figured it out. He figured it out.
We figured it out.
Damn
Yeah,
it.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I get it. No, that's I like being with family. But so the first thing we have to do is there's two pieces to answer your question. The first one's internal, then there's external. We have to fix the training. The training is stuck in 1974. The rule study and the mechanics and all that stuck in 1984. We have to fix that. Then the middle part of that, I guess, is that we have to accept and acknowledge that the technology is there to help us do our job, and we need to embrace it and we need to use it. This whole replay assist garbage is nonsense. This whole survive the ground stuff is nonsense. We need to go back to the basics. We need to use the technology. And then on the external side, we need that transparency. We need a weekly segment on whatever platform, this one, NFL Network, it doesn't matter, where you're going to come out and say, look, like Pereira used to, this is how this whole thing got started. He would come out and talk about 3 or 4 plays, and he'd say, this was a good call. Here's why it's a good call. This was not really what we wanted, but I understand why this official made the call. It's not really, I wouldn't really downgrade him based on, there's all these nuances that go into officiating a football game. And until the fans will see all of that together, from the time the officials arrive at the stadium to the time that they lock up and go home, what it takes to manage a game and go through all that, we have to be better at educating the fans. And back to my other point, if we were transparent up front about these calls and just say, you know what, that I have no idea who, I'm just assuming it was the back judge. I have no idea why the back judge threw that flag against Miami in the Washington in game, but we're going to talk to him and find out what he saw, because none of us saw what we thought he saw. So we need to understand what he saw. Once I talk to him, I'll come back to you and I'll tell you what I think actually happened there. So I would go talk to the back judge and I'd say, can you explain to me exactly what brand Denver weed you were smoking there? Because that was not, and he'll be like, oh, no, this was all this stuff going on. I'm like, okay. And we'd look at the film or a video, we'd look it out. And then I'd come back to you all and say, you know what? On television, with the angles that you had, it didn't look like DPI. It didn't look like it to me. And it certainly didn't look like to you. After talking to the back judge and reviewing what he said he saw, we went back and looked at the video from the other angle. And what you don't see is contact prior to when the television cameras got there, and with the ball in the air, there was a legit reason for a defensive pass interference call. And although the video doesn't support it based on what you saw on television, we do have evidence to support that, and we're going to support that call. Would you rather hear that, or would you rather hear crickets? And then we're having this discussion about, oh, no, it was an international game. They need to keep it competitive, so they blew the call. Well, which is it? I would think the fans would much rather hear that we talked to the back judge and there is video evidence to support that. Or, you know what, we talked to him and it's not there, and we're going to work with him on becoming better, or we're going to move him to field judge. But either way, we're going to fix that. So I think the fans would understand that people make mistakes. You can't argue that your officials are 98% correct and then just blow off the other 2% as it not being an issue. Yeah. And then when there's a call come in, you can say, well, that's in that 2%. Well, sure, any call that you don't like can be in that 2%. Yeah, but my gosh, we're 98% accurate. Well, yeah, I'm 98% accurate killing the spiders around my house. Right. But I'll be damned if that one didn't get away and he's under the bed. I'm not going to sleep because it's like I'm 98% sure that I got all the others, but so it's always that 2% that bug me. Do you have to be 100%? Probably not. People would expect that you're not, but I think we could with the technology, but they don't use it correctly. Mm-hmm. So then this 2% lingers out there without any transparency or explanation. So long way of saying, to Alex's point, what would we do to fix it? We're going to fix the training. We're going to fix the mechanics. We're going to go back to the owners, and we're going to say, look, some of these rules just don't make sense. We'll continue to try to officiate them if we can, but if you don't change them, then when stuff, when whatever the fan thing is that you said, because I don't want to misstate it by trying to say it backwards and mess it up. But when it does hit the fan, then we're just going to blame you. We're going to say, you know what, the owners made that rule. We're sorry we didn't enforce it correctly. But if you don't like it, go yell at them. Don't yell at me. But we don't get any of that. And so I think without the transparency, without someone explaining what happens on the field and mechanics. There was that situation in Denver, right, where Sean Payton got tangled up with an official on the sidelines. I mean, all those things happen in the course of a game, and the whole game in context is how it was officiated. It wasn't officiated by one call. It wasn't officiated by somebody getting a still shot and saying, "Hey, that's not holding." If you're like this, is it holding? I don't know. I got to see the whole play. So you can't really blame the officials on one call when essentially it's out of context for the entire play, for the entire game, and all that sort of stuff. So when I look at something as whether or not it was a bad call, sometimes you can tell right away, even on that one play, that probably wasn't a very good call. Much like the Detroit call against A.J. Brown in the Eagles game. I'm like, what was that? But there are other calls and other nuances throughout the course of the game that we have to understand. And that's the positioning of the officials, the angle that they saw, what they saw. Sometimes we see things on TV they can't see. Sometimes they see things we don't see. And so there's just a lot of nuances there. And, I know it's a long answer to the question of what would you do differently, but that's a big one. Just going out there and explaining to folks what's going on. Gotcha. And I don't know why they don't do that. I don't know if they don't think that it's proper, if they don't think their fans aren't smart enough. I don't know what it is.
Are they trying to preserve the integrity of these or not the integrity,
by
but
keeping
reputation?
Them in a closet? By keeping them in the closet?
I mean, I feel like that's the biggest thing for fans is we just want to see some responsibility, we want to see some responsibility. Accountability. Thank you. That's
accountability.
Yeah. And we don't see that. Right. And we come on this show, we talk about it, we try to understand it more. But it's a big topic, and it encompasses, 7 officials down on a field in the course of 60 minutes trying to run a ball game. And then the fans get all this extra noise, like, oh, well, is it replay assist? Could it be this? Could it be that? And there's all this ambient noise with regards to the actual officiating. And it's no wonder, without anybody explaining any particular call in any particular game, the why, I think it's a huge fail on the league's part. And if their only motivation is because they want us talking about it because they think that's entertainment, I think that's misguided. I don't think that gets you any closer to integrity or credibility by doing that. So the only other explanation is because they don't want to. And I don't know why they have to have the officials live in a vacuum. Because there are officials when they're doing well, but they're not full-time employees when they don't. So the league office has it both ways. They can spin that any way they want to based on what they want the narrative to be. The officials are like, hey, wait a minute, don't throw us under the bus. Don't call us part-time and then throw us under the bus because we're not full-time officials, as if they were full-time officials would fix everything. Full-time officials doesn't make a back judge any better than he was when he was a part-time back judge. If he sucks, it doesn't matter whether he's getting a 12-month paycheck or a 9-month paycheck. But
right, exactly. Yeah, the performance is the performance regardless of how much they spend on it.
Yeah, and I think the takeaway here, guys, is that this is a really good topic because I think it's important for the integrity of the game. But there's no easy or quick fix. Yeah. And I think with the officials, we want an easy, quick fix. There isn't one. It's complicated. There's a lot of nuances, and it takes time. It takes someone with leadership and someone who really wants to make it right. And even if they thought it was right the way it is now, it can't be right in the fans' eyes without transparency. So something has to give, or it's just going to become a bigger problem. And when you throw in the gambling aspect of it, everything becomes suspect. And then all of a sudden, here we go. Here's the folding chair, and somebody gets whacked over the back of it, and we're just off to the races. And they're an eyelash away from having a huge problem. And I just think,
Roger McMahon.
And in the league with that, and with the league with that much at stake, you'd think they'd be having more serious conversations about that, like we are. But I don't seem to have those conversations, and I don't know why. And I think in part it's leadership on the officiating side. I think they're just too chicken because they know they can be replaced. If one of the officials, in the league office steps up and says to Roger, "Look, I don't think that's a good idea. Next,
get him out of here."
By the way, go down and clean up your office and tell your assistant to come in because he's now head of officiating.
Right, and SEC is hiring because you're out of here. Yeah.
Hey, and let me tell you this, and I don't know this for a fact, but I know Mike Pereira. He's no longer the vice president of officiating. And he may have been. I know that Art McNally was pretty good, and Jerry Seaman was pretty good. Blah blah blah. But Mike Pereira was pretty good. Mike Pereira's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't think you have to move too many rocks to try to understand why. I mean, he left many years ago, but I think the reasons why he left are not out of reach from the topics we touched on tonight.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay. So. All right. Any other questions for Ref on this topic or otherwise?
Oh, man, good stuff as always.
Yeah.
Good to have the Ref back.
Indeed.
Nice to be back. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I apologize for being absent for a few weeks there, dealing with some family stuff, but hope to be with you here for the major part of the rest of the season. It's starting to get dandy now, I'd say, right?
That's for sure.
You don't got to apologize for that, Ref. Family and life always comes first, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Indeed. Okay. All right. We'll pause for a couple of seconds. Anybody in the chat that's watching that has any questions for the Ref, we'll give that some leeway in that regard. But yeah, man, definitely great insight as always. I mean, he always hits out of the park. I mean, I can't say enough about that. I can't sing your praises enough in that space. If you're not paying attention to what he's saying or the information he's putting down, you're missing out. But yeah, definitely shed some light on what I have been wanting to know for sure. I'm always coming away with multiple things that are things that I don't know prior to talking to him. So yes, absolutely appreciate that particular aspect of it. But good sir, I appreciate you as always, man.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad it's helpful.
100%.
More than helpful. I mean, I don't know what other connotation or adjective to put on it, but it is definitely an enlightening segment. So yeah, we definitely gotta give you your kudos and your praise in that space. But
appreciate you guys.
All right. But any final words before we get up out of here on this topic? All right.
Cool.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So before we get to Hit Squad headlines, man, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, Ref Google.
Good luck, everybody. We need it this week.
Well, not for us. We're on a bye.
We're on a bye week. Yeah.
We're good. Like I say, we can't lose this week.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's some people that don't know how to deal with the bye. So, but anyway, never mind. That's a joke from like 1974. But anyway, okay. I'll explain it someday.
Indeed.
Right on.
All right, good sir. We'll see you down online.
Take care.
All right, let's get into some headlines.
Hit Squad headlines.
All right, so let's talk some ball. I mean, again, having Ref lead off the show, boy, I tell you, he leaves he leaves some work to do in regards to following that up. I swear. But let's do our best to talk NFL. This NFL action. So we're getting into week 12, going into week 12. Week 11 is wrapped up, and like we said at the top of the show, it's no clear front runner. Some guys are kind of trying to establish themselves and position themselves to be in the playoffs. But if you had to be a betting man today on it, you wouldn't feel confident in anybody that you put your money down on who would be a Super Bowl champion at this particular point. But like I said in the short earlier today, if you watch us on YouTube, we have to talk about the Patriots. We have to discuss whether or not they are the front runners in the NFC. I mean, we're on a 9-game win streak at this particular point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And they are rocking and rolling. They seem well polished, well coached. I mean, what a staunch difference from one year to the next. I mean, I think it might need to be studied how quickly and decisively they turn that around just by getting Mike Vrabel. I mean, that is definitely something to study and behold, because again, and then look how bad Tennessee's doing on top of that. Just the egg on your face type of moment where you let him go. He had your franchise moving in the upward direction, and you let him go, and he comes to the Patriots in 1 year, turns it around, and now he's 2 games up in his division. It was ran by the Bills for the last 4 to 5 years. So
yeah.
So
quickly return the Patriots to what they were.
Exactly. So let's go around the room and talk about the Patriots. And do you believe they're front runners in the AFC? How far do you think they can go? What is your overall opinion on their I guess you can say ascension into the AFC conversation in the playoff ranks? Let's start with the young man, Padawan himself, the young Hard G. What's going on, good sir? How you feel about the Patriots today? I laid off with you because you were very bullish on them in the preseason in regards to how you think they were going to fare. Mm-hmm. So yeah, please tell us in the audience alike, how you feel about the Patriots today and how far you think it can go.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just had all the makings for this season to have this run that they've been on. Obviously, coming into this season, they had the easiest strength of schedule coming into the year. Coupled with the fact that, like you mentioned, you get a massive upgrade at head coach in Mike Vrabel. Drake May had shown you enough in his rookie year where you're like, yeah, we could build an offense around that. We can make it work. And they've the money they've spent in free agency has paid off well. Now, they did lose Milton Williams to the IR this past week. They just placed him on IR. Should come back for the playoffs, and I do say that because they're pretty much a lock in the AFC at this point. I think them, the Colts, and Broncos and Bills. Yeah, those are probably the 4 I would guarantee to make the playoffs. And obviously 2 of those are coming out of the same division. But yeah, I just think the Patriots had the right stuff all kind of come together at the right moment for them. And at this point, their ceiling is, the 1 seed. And once you get the 1 seed, man, anything can happen. The playoffs go through you. They go through your home. So if at that point, I mean, man, and the Chiefs are out of it this year. I mean, the big hitters, the Chiefs, the Ravens, obviously, the Bills are still in that, but you're leading the division. So, if you did have to face the Bills, who you've already beaten this year, they'd have to come to your building. So the Patriots are really, barring a horrific collapse, in these last 7 weeks, the last 6 weeks of the season, they are firmly right there to be the number 1 seed. And at that point, hey man, all bets are off.
Yeah. And is it 2014 again? Because when did the playoffs run through Foxborough? Like, when is the last time that happened? So yeah, it's definitely something to behold. And if things trend in the direction that they're trending for them, they definitely will host a playoff game or all of them, depending on how the rankings shake out. So having to play football in Foxborough in the wintertime in December, early January, is not for the weak of heart. That's for sure. Not for the weak of heart. So those warm weather teams, those teams are not used to that. And like say Jacksonville had to go to Foxborough week 1 of the playoffs. I don't know how the Florida boys will handle that cold.
It might look like the Jacksonville Chargers game in the other direction.
Yeah, good point. Trauma, but yes, good point. But yes, I definitely agree with you there. Violator, good sir, how do you feel about the Patriots today, and what do you think their ceiling is?
I think their ceiling is as high as they want it to be. First of all, I'm surprised at the quick turnaround, if you call it that. I'm thinking Tennessee is the one with egg on their face. Mike Vrabel goes to the Patriots, he's back at home, but he basically sets the tone for that whole squad.
Oh, yeah.
And then you've got McDaniels in his best position, which is offensive play caller. And like I said, along with Drake May, who I was hoping we would draft, this kid is showing you he's the real deal. And everybody talks about Bo Nix, but I think Drake May will eventually end up being a better QB.
I did ask that question a few weeks ago. Who be the better QB out of that class? And right now it's Drake May.
Yeah.
Right now it's looking like Drake May. I like it.
Yeah,
I like
100%.
it. So, yeah.
But their chemistry, you can see it. They don't have real big name players, but those players that's there are giving 110%, and it shows in the way that they go by everything from special teams to the groundskeeper, man.
I like it.
It's as bad as I hate them, it's nice to see that symphony, and that's why we watch the game, for that symphony. So yes, I think if they get home field advantage in the playoffs, the other teams they're gonna suffer because of the weather and all that goes with that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can look at it as envy for those teams that don't have it together as much as they do. You look at it like it's envy. Wish your team had it together like that, because you could really go far with the talents you have. Because I think we all agree that we all got talented rosters, that we had that type of synergy in the building, with that culture that Vrabel builds very quickly. Yeah, I think that we would definitely be singing better praises on our teams right now than if we had that type of environment going on. So I definitely agree with you there, for sure.
And even take for example the Panthers. I mean, they're surprising some people. Bruce Bryce is finally, I think, in his zone as far as the game slowing down for him. Yep. Everybody knocked him for his small physique, but the kid is a whiz, man, and it puts me in the mind of Drew Brees.
That's a good point. I mean, Brock Purdy is one of those guys too that small in stature, not real big arm, but his mental game from a football perspective is top notch, and that's why Kyle Shanahan likes him. So yeah, I definitely agree with you there. That's definitely a good example for sure. I like it. All right, Real G, what you got on the Patriots? It's one of those things where they kind of try to steal your thunder a little bit, because y'all were the next dynasty, incarnate, and then now they're rearing their ugly heads again. So what do you feel about it?
Back, yeah, no, it's I echo what everyone said. True testament to Mike Vrabel and just his ability to build a culture, and it says something when your head coach is on your stadium's Ring of Honor. I'm sure he gets a lot of people to buy into what he's saying and play for him. But I said this last night, not knowing we were talking about this to a buddy, but I was like, man, I feel bad for Gerard Mayo, because I feel like he didn't get the same type of chance. They didn't give him that supporting cast. It was almost like they hired him, and once they saw Vrabel was getting fired, they're like, damn, what do we do? How do we get him here quick, But clearly they had their vision. They got their guy. They trusted him to go out and spend $220 million on defensive free agents, and trust that he got the right offensive person to continue to develop Drake May, and it's all looking really great right now. And I think they have to be your favorite for the AFC at this point, just because the Colts have started off hot, and I think kind of have been fizzling out a few weeks, and really been, in my opinion, kind of lucky to win their last couple games. Whereas the Patriots have, like you said, they 8 straight wins, just really firing on all cylinders. So I think, they're the clear favorite in the AFC. I think they're probably going to be the 1 seed, and it's going to go through Foxborough. But I will say, looking at their schedule, it's like they haven't really been that tested yet.
Right.
Outside of, they played the Bills. They beat the Bills in Buffalo, but they'll play them again and the Ravens, and that's really the only 2 teams that I see potentially having trouble with at this stage.
Right. Yeah, I wonder if it's one of those. I think was it the Eagles that had this schedule, or was the Giants a few years ago, where they had like a really, really soft regular season schedule. They were just beating up tomato cans left and right, and then they got in the playoffs and got dog walked.
Yeah, I think it was the Giants in Dayball's first year with Daniel Jones.
It was.
No, they won a playoff game, didn't they? They beat the Vikings.
It was the Vikings, but
then they got absolutely steamrolled by.
And that was all Saquon's doing in that game, to be honest. To win that, it wasn't Daniel Jones doing, ironically. So yeah. But yeah, I just hope it's not one of those things. I'm looking at that schedule too, because they got 2 more, should be wins, Bengals and Giants. Then they get the Bills again. So yeah, they looking at least 1, 2, I would argue 3, at least 5 more wins easily. So you're already adding 5 more wins to 9. You're already looking at 14 wins. They could be 14 and 3 potentially. That's crazy. That's crazy. And to be picking, what they pick 4th or 5th in this year, and then turn around and go win 14 games.
All of that.
And win 14 games, turn around the very next season. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's a hell of a turnaround.
I will say, I mean, we kind of saw the same thing. I know Mike Dove's not here, but I mean, Commanders, like picking.
Yeah, they
did.
They
pick, and then had that easy schedule, and
and
now, I mean, injuries and other stuff to it, but it's been a tough year for them too.
Right.
With that, that schedule they have. So
yeah, but so far so good. I mean, they went out and were aggressive with that money, and a lot of times when people spend that kind of money, it don't pan out. And for this time go around, they've definitely panned out for the Patriots so far. And they already had their core nucleus pieces, and they just added to that room to kind of fill it out and say that this is our team, and this is going to be a situation where we're going to be a handful to deal with for the next couple of years. Yeah, I'm still hesitant about both Broncos and the Patriots in the playoffs, but they said the Broncos can get something going on offense. Will be dangerous team. Yeah, but that's the thing. We're at week 11. They still hadn't got it going. I mean, how long is it going to take? How long is it going to take? I mean, are we seeing that regression of that sophomore stuff from Bo Nix kind of thing? Because the offense isn't pretty, man. It's a snooze fest. Them and the Eagles, like I zone out watching them play.
Solely relying on defense,
Both of them, yeah.
I was going to say that.
Yeah,
that's kind of like the only reason why both those teams are so dangerous is because that defense is going to give that offense so many chances that it's like eventually you're gonna get it right.
Right. Yeah. So okay, all right, but yeah, I definitely agree with y'all. Drake May's playing awesome. Love it. Finally giving Trayvon Henderson the ball. AG, we're happy about that.
Yes.
But by default, and all of a sudden he's producing one of the best fantasy football performances of the season. So yeah, I definitely say that they're trending in the right direction, and again with their schedule, they should definitely rattle off 13, 14 wins easy. And if they can beat the Ravens and the Bills in dramatic fashion, they definitely will stamp the idea that they could be the front runners of the AFC in its entirety for sure. We're going to see a few teams in the playoffs that haven't been in. You're right, Ed. That's a good one. That's a good one, Ed. You're right.
Especially on the AFC side. I mean,
there's a whole lot of newness going on. A whole lot of newness. That's for sure.
And who would ever thought the Bears would be dominating, in their division?
Well, I don't know about dominating, but
a
win is a win.
Record-wise,
it doesn't matter if it's by an inch or a mile, RG.
I like it. All right, staying in the AFC, let's talk about the Chiefs. They took they took a rough loss against the Broncos over the past weekend. They were kind of hitting their stride into their bye week, and they're having a really tough matchup against that daunted defense in Denver over the weekend, and they ended up losing by possession. But I'm gonna turn it over to the real AG first and foremost to kind of give us his synopsis of what's going on with the Chiefs. Give us a ground level deep dive on what's happening with the Chiefs and what he thinks is the issue that has kind of permeated this season that hasn't been in the chart in the Chiefs realm for the last 3 or 4 seasons.
Yeah, and I'll try to keep it concise because I definitely got a lot to say about it. But
and say some thunder for your show as well.
I mean, I think the writing was on the wall. It's kind of like I was saying. I was talking to Ref and Violator pre-show, and I think the writing was a little bit on the wall for the Chiefs, for this to happen these past couple of years, especially because you look at like last year, it was virtually the same roster. They were 12-0 in one-score games. Whether people want to say that's for the refs or for the league fixing it for Taylor Swift or whatever, they always found ways to win it. And, that was kind of masked until they got to the Super Bowl, and then they played a really elite defense, and you saw all the problems that they had. And then that's kind of carried over into this year, and you're still in the same spot with these one-score games with less veteran presence on your team. And, they're not finding – they're 0-5 right now. So, I mean, it's not like they're getting blown out. It's not like the Chiefs are not the Chiefs anymore. They're just not – they they've lost that magic, I guess, to pull it out late in the game. Whether like this against Denver, like the game literally went the same way it went last year against Denver, and they blocked the field goal to win. And it's like, it was almost the same exact gameplay. But I think it's just been a little bit of, like I was saying, like complacency with the roster and always taking this like, well, let's just run it back approach. Because, hell, we've made it. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has never not played in an AFC championship game since he's been starting. Like, they've been to the Super Bowl 5 times, in his career so far. So that approach has always seemed to work. And just for whatever reason, whether it's some of it with coaching or just the approach with the offense and how they do stuff, not having a efficient running back or running game or abandoning the run in games, and then just kind of having a more aging defense with a very young secondary and just hoping that it works, that's just all kind of rearing its ugly head right now. And that's kind of, like I said at the start of the show, I mean, it's somewhat, if you're a true Chiefs fan, this is kind of an exciting time because we're going to find out here pretty soon, like, what this team can really be capable of, because they truly cannot lose any more games. So like they have to basically win out. They for sure can't lose any more divisional games. I mean, that's it goes without being said, but they can't really lose any other games. And so, we're going to finally see like the perennial dynasty that somewhat people are saying is fading away. How's that going to look when, their backs are against the wall? So, I mean, we'll find out this week if things can be changed, because if not, then I mean, there's a very realistic possibility the Chiefs are not in the playoffs, and they're preparing to pick in the, middle 10 to 20 range and are on to 2026, which is crazy to say. But at some point, this was going to have to happen. I mean, you can't win the AFC West every year. You can't go to the Super Bowl every year. And, I say the newer Chiefs fans out there that I see are just totally bonkers. Like, I think after the game, I saw so much like we need to fire Andy Reid.
Oh God.
Like, and it's like, no, guys, like the man totally turned the franchise around. That's how I know they're not real fans. Like what it was like before that, when they were, like I said, just sometimes a good team in the regular season that would just fold in the playoffs. So it's, it's all, I think just a matter of them kicking the can down the road, so to speak, of not fully addressing some of the issues and just saying like, well, it worked last year. Let's try it again. Oh crap. It worked again. Let's try it again. And it's just, it's just not, just hasn't worked out this year. But I mean, every game has been close. And like, obviously they're the Chiefs, so they're going to get every team's best. Like, that is one game I'm sure a lot of people circled of like, we need to beat the hell out of these guys this year. And so, I mean, it's just like people don't really fear them right now. It's just like they want to make a statement of their own for their own franchise by beating them. And it's just, the luck hasn't gone their way in some of these end of game moments.
Yeah, I agree. And they went from, I guess you can say the big time bully that nobody wants to challenge them until the new kid comes in and just challenges the bully and they actually, he actually wins the fight, either dominantly or by decision. And all of a sudden everybody's like, the bully is, he can't be had kind of thing. And I kind of resonated with the Eagles Super Bowl this past winter, and how, a lot of teams saying that, there is an opportunity or method to beating this team. And then people are starting to really get confidence in the idea that they aren't invincible in a sense. Mm-hmm. We talk quite a bit on this show, on this network, about how people will play different because they were just so concerned about how the Chiefs conducted themselves, on the field. Now it's they're trying to dictate their paces and play their own game versus trying to keep up with what the Chiefs doing or try to stop what the Chiefs are doing. So you're more offensive and proactive versus being reactive to what the Chiefs are doing. So that's a I guess you can say an added piece to it as well.
Yeah, and I do not disagree with Ed here, because I said this to Boyle, the Dynasty. He's a Broncos fan, unfortunately. So we were talking. Okay. And of course, as I said this, he did hit Tyquan Thornton on a very deep ball. But I mean, I think some of this too is once they lost Tyreek, Mahomes has never been the same with the deep aerial attack that he was known for when they had Tyreek. And and it's just because I don't know if it's just he can't, because I mean they have guys that have the similar skill set. I mean they're not Tyreek as well as, or how they're established in their career, but they got people with speed. And for whatever reason, it's just like Mahomes cannot build the chemistry with them or connect with them to do that. Because if you watch the Broncos game, I mean, hell, three of their first four scripted plays were like, let's just try a deep post. Like, let's try a deep streak to Worthy. And they were like right there to hitting them. But it's like, he's never really been able to do that once Tyreek left. Like they tried to do it with Hardman, who was a similar, he was kind of drafted to be the Tyreek replacement when he had all his off the field stuff going on, could never connect with him. They, got Hollywood Brown for the same approach. He got hurt. They drafted Worthy for the same approach. You can't connect with him. The only person he's been able to connect with is Thornton, who was a castaway from New England, and and so I think to some, like, they've lost that aura. Teams know that. And then they know, oh, well, they have an aging Travis Kelce. Like he can only do so much. He still is pretty good, but he's not, he's not 3 years ago Travis Kelce.
Yeah, right. He's not every
week. They know they don't have a running game. I mean, how they ran the ball 14 times. Like, why are you going against a defense that has over 40 sacks on the year already, and you run the ball 14 times? What do you? And then they try to do. They don't ever go under center unless it's a play action, and it's like, what team's gonna buy that? Like, think, oh crap, I bet they're running this here. Like, no, you're just doing it to waste, trying to help out the O-line, I guess. I don't know, but it's just none of it's working. And you can tell that like Mahomes doesn't trust his O-line on this deeper stuff because he doesn't sit in the pocket like he used to and just sling it. He's always like moving around like, where do I got to go next? Because unfortunately that's kind of where they're at with the trying to sort of retool things on the fly while also running it back with the same core. And then you just have these problems that just keep compounding every week.
Gotcha. Hey, DZ, cut it out, man. That's not.
Yeah, what the hell was that, DZ?
He would have been. I absolutely wanted them to take him. And you know who would have been really lethal on this team? George Pickens. But instead we drafted Sky Moore over him.
Oh wow.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Right,
Sky Moore, what a pull.
Right. Yeah. He did something last week. Did he get like a punt?
He returned a punt, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay. Fair enough.
Man.
But okay. Well, I'm gonna go around the room, but I do got a follow-up question for you. In regards to so do you, if it does not work out and you do not make the playoffs this year, hypothetically, do you think they tear down to the studs and start to rebuild or retool?
I think they cut some big people or move on from some big people and maybe try to trade someone that's aging for some draft picks, and it kind of like they did with Tyreek, because I mean that was a resurgence for him to some degree, and I mean they're going to have to do something like that because a lot of people are coming up for contracts, a lot of people are already getting paid. You can only kick that can down the road so much too. So
that's the fact.
Yeah, and they're going to have to, and I think that's why I think DZ mentioned Breece Hall, which I so would have loved for them to make that trade, but I think they knew, like, I'm not going to give you a 3rd round pick for a guy I'm not going to pay this next year and let walk.
Yeah,
because they know they can't really afford to do that. So at some point they're going to have to get an influx of picks somewhere to get younger talent in. And because I mean, Veach can draft. He can't really draft early, but he could draft. He can get you good players. Middle round.
In his defense, he's usually picking 31 or 32. So it's really tough to keep landing.
Kind of started the 2nd round.
For sure. And it's like, I mean, I'm sure not many people really want to trade with him when he's calling either. So
some people do because
Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo. Yeah, they seem to want to deal with you all the time, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, Violator. What's your take on the Chiefs, and what do you think is going on in KC, and how do you think their season will fare from here on out?
Well, like Alex just said, their backs are against the wall. We're going to see exactly what they're made of, but I still say as long as Andy Reid's in the building, he can figure some stuff out. Like making chicken soup out of chicken, spit, so to speak.
There you go. Right, there you go.
But just for me watching them as an adversary, their run game is really not prominent like it was in the days of Priest Holmes and, when they had these bell cow running backs that would just lay wood, And so with Pacheco out, that really hit them hard. And that's starting to show. Plus that young secondary that they've got, people that know are starting to attack that. So, if Chris Jones isn't dominating, then that second, just like in our team, that secondary takes a big hit because people are gunning for him and trying him, And that's what teams play aggressive. You may get those lucky calls back there on those young guys. So,
Yeah, good point. That's a good point.
Like I said, we're going to see these last, 7 or 8 weeks here.
Yeah.
What they're made of.
That's for sure. Yeah, I could, I guess, equate Chris Jones to Travis Kelce. They're still great, in moments, but they're not as dominant every play like they used to be.
Chris Jones probably played his best game last week.
Right, and that's what we week 11.
Yeah, but but their secondary is just, and it's too. He talked post game like the Broncos knew some blitzes they were running, and like at that third and 15 that Bo Nix converted at the end of the game. If you go watch it, he flipped Ingram and Troutman, I think, who's their blocking tight end, to the side where he knew the blitz was coming from, and Chris Jones post game was like, they were calling it out by name. And so I think that goes to some of the run it back approach. They're like, oh, the hell, this worked for the last 10 years on these guys. Let's just go run it again, and not really trying to adapt to how these teams have been building over the last 3-4 years.
I mean, in fairness to that, if it's been working the last decade, why change?
Well, yeah, I know.
Until it,
let it work until it doesn't.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Let it work until it doesn't.
Every team in every year, or like we were talking pre-show, they're drafting in order to stop whoever their nemesis is. Yeah. And you see that parity raising his head around the league now. That's why you got these weird tight games and teams that used to be down or coming up. So it's going to be interesting. This last stretch here is going to be real interesting.
Yeah, that's a great point. And something just dawned on me too now if you say that, because I was actually it was something I kind of kept underneath my cap going into the season, because this is the year 2 of this coaching regime. And you add the Pete Carroll into the focus as well, with Harbaugh and Payton coming in last year. So you have to attribute to Alex's point, they called out that blitz. That is coaching.
Yeah, that's coaching.
And no shade, at all, because respect the Chiefs and what they've done in 9 straight division titles, but they made their hay in most of those 9 with the likes of Brandon Staley and Josh Daniels and
John Gruden.
John Gruden and the coach from the Broncos with Hackett, Nate Hackett,
that was like half a year,
right? People, you see the point.
Like Fangio before that,
right. So you look at it from that perspective that they made their hay on lower tier coaches. Now you have I would argue that Hall of Fame as coaches from top to bottom in this division. This is the best coach division in the entire league. So you're going to get some of that back. In a sense, so they're going to try to, as Belichick famously coined the phrase, I'm going to try to make you play left-handed a lot.
Yeah,
that's type of vibe. So you're going to get that. So this is going to be a dogfight from here on out. I mean, because you see the Broncos have ascended, they're controlling the division. The Chargers, if they can get their O-line together, they're a problem. And the Raiders, assuming they can get O-line, they're going to be an issue too. Because they always are tough and gritty. They just can't seem to have that one, big piece that's going to keep them competitive in games, to hold up, in a sense. So they get a line behind Jency and a decent quarterback. With Carroll coaching them, I think they're going to be all right as well. So, yeah.
But see, that's probably another. I'm going to say another 1 to 2 seasons before it really gels, and hopefully the wheels don't fall off in the midst of it. Somebody makes a desperate decision like we've dealt with over year after year, and it's just you're starting over every time you do that.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. All right, RG, what you got on the Patriots before we move on?
The Chiefs.
I said the Patriots, the Chiefs. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was.
Yeah, I mean, just agreeing with what everybody else says. I mean, like the Chiefs, obviously, until they are officially, DZ, preach, my brother, preach.
Yes,
obviously, with KC, just that cachet they developed, that that aura, they've had up until this point. I will not count them out until they are officially eliminated, until it's mathematically impossible for them to make the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
You can never count them out. You can never count out Mahomes. You can never count out Reed. You have to give that franchise their respect that they have earned, these last 5 years plus, is basically since they've gotten Mahomes.
Yeah.
That all being said, you definitely have to look at this year, through AG's eyes, like, yeah, this is going to be the first offseason where major changes are going to be made, going to need to be made since letting Tyreek walk since trading Tyreek, back in 2022, was it? Right?
Yeah.
20, yeah. So
yep, 22.
22, yeah. So you're 3 years removed of that. Obviously, the level of success with the team has still been consistently up there and, to their standard. But like you mentioned, so many things changing in the division. Eventually, the Chiefs were going to kind of enter this lull of just needing to sort of rebound, kind of analyze what's happening, what changes were made, and then, kind of making decisions based off that. Shocker, the team with the best O-line in the division is by far, leading the division. Who knew that trenches were such an important part of team success?
Yeah, wow, what a revelation.
Wow, what I know, right? What a thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, the Chiefs ultimately this season maybe is a lost cause because now instead of, I think division is probably done. I think they would need to win out, need the Broncos to collapse. And with, with the way that's going, those teams are not
Could
trending.
happen,
it very well could happen. Broncos.
I mean, hey, people told me 18 times last year. It's all going to implode for the Chiefs with these one-score games. Nobody's saying the same about the Broncos. But
100%, 100%. I do think though that with this loss the Chiefs just had, just not even the fact that it's a loss to the Broncos, but it's a division loss and already having that's your second one, right? Because it's just been us in Denver. So
yeah, they play everyone again one more time.
Yeah, so you'll get your licks back, and get a chance to even up that record. But obviously, the Chargers starting off 3-0, the Broncos with their huge start. Like the Chiefs have dug themselves into a mighty big hole here, and they're going to need some help to get out of it, at least for this season. But I think moving forward as an organization, they're in good hands. I mean, let's be honest. One season of potential mediocre, record is in no way gonna derail this team or anything like that. I just think, they need to, similar to what happened after, like I said, when they let go of Tyreek, they need to kind of look at themselves in a new identity and see like, all right, what is the next step in the Mahomes era? Are we going to go overhaul the offense again? Are we going to, have to let the defense suffer for a couple of years while we rebuild the offense? So there's going to be some changes being made, but it's the Chiefs, it's Mahomes, it's Reed. They're always a threat, always.
Well, I just get yourself a right time. Get rid of Jawan Taylor. God,
dude, for real.
Get rid of that.
Pay him, $20 million, and he can't even line up right. It's like, dude.
Exactly. He's annoying me, and he don't even play with my team. So I know
it's rough, dude. It is rough.
Yeah, I believe it.
I like Josh Simmons. I think they've gotten him. They've got a good.
That's the only spot with Kingsley in the left guard. I like that. I think they need to change that right time in the business.
DZ, the Chiefs have 4 picks currently.
Wow.
1, 3, and 2/5. So,
man,
I got some work to do. I'm gonna need to trade to get some draft capital. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Remember what you said, Alex, about those contracts coming up?
Yeah.
That's gonna be talked about a whole lot.
It is.
We'll get somebody cheaper because that's how. It's shameless to say that's how they operate, but that's how they operate. Like,
and it's worked for them,
especially when you're paying your quarterback, you have to get good, young labor.
Exactly.
You have to get young and good from the draft really quick. That's for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how things flow. We'll keep covering this. And of course, check out Alex each and every Wednesday for the Kingdom Keys segment on this channel. He break down the Chiefs business in its entirety. He'll give you all the tea that you're missing on this show in regards to what's going on with Kansas City each and every week. But yeah, we'll see how the Chiefs flow. And this Colts game is going to be a good one. It's going to tell a lot about the Colts and a lot about the Chiefs going forward. So I'm looking forward to that. And we don't have a game this week, so I can just sit back and be a fan. I'm loving that.
Hell yeah.
I'm loving that.
The best week of every fan's dream.
At least they got him in home.
Week.
Yeah, this guy go there, right?
It's the most stressless week. Put it that way, Alex.
Absolutely.
Tell a violator. Tell him. Indeed.
I like when the Chiefs have a bye. I call it it's red zone week, where I can just watch red zone the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't got to worry about just putting the Chiefs game on at some point.
Right. Yeah, I typically cheat. I put the Chargers game on the big screen. I put the red zone on the iPad. I can do whatever I want this week. I can go. I can multi-view with a YouTube and do red zone. I got a lot of options.
You got options, yeah.
I got a lot of options. I like it. Okay. All right, let's move on down the line. Let's talk about our hot segment of the pod called Do You Believe? Let's get into some first reaction questions in regards to what these guys feel about the NFL in its current state in week 11. Going into week 12. So if you haven't been watching the show, for the last several weeks, this segment is first reactions question segment. But I ask these guys questions. They don't know pre-show. I give them all the information about the show except for this. They know everything that goes on about this show except for this segment. They do not know what I'm going to ask them. So this is first off the cuff reaction to these questions, and they're good ones. They're definitely good ones. So starting off with Alex, we've been talking a lot of AFC, so let's float over to the NFC. We saw our buddy Sam Darnold throw 4 picks against the Rams, in that loss to the Rams over the weekend, and they allowed the Rams to take the division from him. So, and we talk, amongst each other about how he's had some bad games here, and they're another team to me that's winning a lot on the back of their defense as well.
Yeah.
A lot on the back of the defense, and Jackson Smith-Njigba being a freaking phenom, in that space. So would you say at this particular point in time, going into week 12, that Sam Darnold has regressed from the MVP conversation that we had in the beginning of the season?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
100% he has. I mean, because he was, the first 3-4 weeks came out swinging. He was slinging the ball everywhere. He wasn't turning the ball over. And I think it's all kind of started to teeter in that Bucs game when he threw the pick at the end. I mean, he was poised to get the game-winning drive and kind of right the ship of that narrative. And then that sort of reared its ugly head, and we've seen it happen a few times now. And I think some of it's getting masked by their defense and how good and opportunistic their defense is. But I think my question last week had to deal with the Seahawks, or if I think how far. I know I've been asked if I think they can go far, and I'm pretty sure my answer was they go as far as Sam Darnold will let them, and I think that's even more true now because he seems to get in the way of them, especially in a pivotal. Both are 7-2 going into the game for the NFC West, and he throws 4 picks. He's definitely turned the page back, if you will, out of the MVP conversation and into the was he really worth the $100 million?
There you go. Yeah, I definitely think that he's taking a step back. And again, I think we need to watch him and Daniel Jones going forward and seeing that, depending on how they play, it will ultimately determine their fate of this season. They could be one and done if they don't play right. I mean, let's be real. Because everybody's good in the playoffs. You're going to play a team that got decent offense, and that defense not going to be able to save you. Guess what's going to happen?
Yeah, Darnold's thrown 10 picks on the year now. I just looked that up. He's only behind Tua and someone else that I think Violator doesn't need to know.
I already know him. Yeah. Next question.
I like it. Well, speaking of Violator, let's go to him next. We talked about this man in a glowing fashion at the top of the show in regards to the Patriots. So, from your estimation, do you believe that Drake May can win the MVP?
Wow, damn good question. Wow. Now that's a good one, Coach. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to step out and say yes. If his performance remains how it is going forward, like I say, the kid has just amazed me with how he's picked up the system, how he, like you say, like how he leads the offense out there. And they just like his toughness and his no BS. He's just a gunner, man. Like I say, I wish we had drafted him. So I say yes. If the Patriots go get into the playoffs and advance, yes, he can get that MVP.
I like it. And then if he wins that 14, 15 games that I underscored earlier, how can you deny him if he plays well? Like you said, if he plays top tier and he got some cupcakes on his schedule too to add to it, he could literally walk himself right into that award and we wouldn't argue it at all. You know, and to be honest. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. It could happen. It just depends on how well he plays down the stretch.
I just see him as a young QB that was kind of felt slighted when that draft was coming. That draft class was announced.
Yeah, he was not the talk of the town.
Yes. So he's playing with a big chip. You know what I mean?
I like it. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
It's
I
like
like
the consolation prize, you know.
Right. Yep. He was the third choice for prom.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay. All right, RG, I got a good one for you.
What do you got for me?
This is right up your wheelhouse because it's something you talking about as well. And we kind of been mamas on it, kind of be quiet about it for a few weeks, but it's starting to trend here. And the Buccaneers, ironically, or as Cap will call them, the fake Pirates, are kind of regressing a little bit. Do you believe the Panthers can compete for the division title?
Absolutely, I do. Absolutely. I think the Panthers right now, and I think with Bryce Young coming off by far the best game of his career, it's not even close. I think that they are certainly riding high, and I just think the fact that you're only half a game behind Tampa after that insane start that Tampa had, that can only give more confidence to that Panthers locker room to be like, we played some awful football in like the first month and a half of the season. But now we are still in a position where we're above 500. We're only half a game, a bye week loss for, Panthers being on a bye week and then a loss for Tampa to even their records right up. And you still play Tampa 2 times this year. You face them. They're the last game of the season for you. And then you play them 2 weeks before that. So, I mean, it's just obviously, Bryce Young could absolutely revert back to his old ways. And, this question will be rendered moot next week. However, I think if they're just able to keep that ground game going with Rico Dowdle, try to keep the ball out of Bryce Young's hands as much as possible until you truly need him to come through for you. I think you let the run game do its work and, kind of build up that time of possession and control the game in that way. Their defense is really not half bad. I think that it's a very underrated defense that was missing a lot of its key pieces last year. This is all a big thing to say that I truly believe in the Panthers. Kitty go meow. I fully am bought into the Panthers.
You just say kitty go meow.
He dropped that in there. It's very subtle. Hold up, meow. Am I saying meow?
That's what they call a loud whisper.
Right.
Okay.
Man. That's some good stuff there. That is some good stuff. I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for that at all. That's some good stuff.
I got your question for you, Coach, if you're ready.
Talk to me.
All right. So Jacoby Brissett just broke the NFL record for most completions in a single game with 47. We want to talk about having stuff on your bingo card this year. Who had that one?
No Marvin Harrison Jr.
With no Marvin. That's Thank you for pointing that out. That's even just more massive to that point. But obviously in a losing effort, and in a blowout losing effort, but regardless, still a huge accomplishment for him. Very, very happy for him. With that being said, do you believe that the Arizona Cardinals are going to forfeit drafting a quarterback this year and stick with Jacoby Brissett at least until a better quarterback draft comes along?
No. And I was going to say hell no, but I was just going to say no. But no. But I do believe that there's a scenario and situation, as you were asking the question, that it could be a bridge conversation I think they could, re-sign Jacoby for a year or two, to kind of have him bridge the gap between the kid that they do draft, especially depending on where they finish. If they don't get, because they're saying that maybe only one kid, the one kid that's the front runner to could come out and be ready to play, Mendoza. So if they don't get their shot at Mendoza, which likely if you don't trade up to get him, you don't have the first pick, you're not going to get your hands on him. So they might end up drafting a guy that's going to need a year or two to sit, and learn. So if that's the case, then they could honestly truly use Jacoby as the bridge. And that'll make Trey McBride happy because hell, he's getting love now.
Yep.
Right.
So yeah, I would argue that they could keep Jacoby for a year or two, depending on how long they think the project of building the new QB will take, and let him to sit and learn and figure things out. And then when he's ready, he's ready. And Jacoby, to me, doesn't have really a big time ego in regards to how he feels about it. He won't make any waves. So I think that will work for them. Honestly, it might save Jonathan Gannon's job, to be honest, because I think he's got to figure it out now, because he's had 2.5 years, to figure things out. Kyler's on the bench. He's likely out. So you got to convince the ownership to, give you another go at getting another quarterback and, working and figuring it out. And if he does do that and have another solid draft, because they definitely have drafted well since he's been there, it's just the quarterback is the issue. Yeah. So if they do go out and get a quarterback in the draft that's not a ready to play now quarterback, which to me in my space right now is only one quarterback in the college football right now, then you definitely bring Jacoby back and use the other quarterback use him as a bridge until the other one's ready. So that could work out and make Arizona a conversational competitive piece for a change, because we've been browbeating them for years about how they just can't seem to get right. Yeah. So that could make them viable for the first time in 10 years since Larry Fitzgerald was there.
Yeah. Well, I guess Kyler's rookie year with Kingsbury, they were like 9-0 or whatever. And then lost every game after that.
Right. So since then, obviously. So I think that's a likely scenario that they could lean on, because again, I think anybody outside of Mendoza is going to need some work. This probably going to come out this season. So I definitely believe that Jacoby Brissett could be an Arizona Cardinal next year for sure,
but not starting.
I mean, he'll start if he's the rookie. Yes,
right. Yeah. Well, my bad. You believe that they will still draft a quarterback this year, regardless.
Regardless, yes. It's just I guess they don't get the hands of Mendoza. I think it's going to be a conversation where they have to have a veteran to run the offense until the young kid is ready.
That's fair.
Huh? All right. So let's move on down the line here. Let's talk about our cover forecast. We're talking about playoffs, and it's getting down to that moment. I think we have 7 games left, 6 games left.
Mm-hmm. Week 12, so 6 weeks left.
6 weeks left. So it's time to talk playoffs. It's actually apropos with this. It's 4 of us here. This will be short and concise. So let's talk about who we feel like who's in and who's out. I'm going to let the AFC side be me and Alex's side, and NFC side be RG and Violator side. So we're going to let RG and Violator tell us who they think is going to make the playoffs from the NFC side, and then we'll give our feedback, and then we'll give our AFC picks, and y'all guys give us our feedback, and we'll let the fans chop it up in the chat as well. Who do you think is going to make the playoffs, or who they like and don't like in our picks. But let's start with Violator. Let's talk about who you think from the NFC perspective, from 1 to 7, who you think today will make the playoffs in your eyes.
Wow, playoffs. NFC. I'm gonna have to throw Seattle in there.
Yep.
I think Green Bay will make a run here towards the end.
Okay.
I've got to keep the Bucks in there until they're out.
Okay.
Because of Baker, I just got to keep them in there because they're like Heckle and Jekyll right now. But I'll keep them in there. I'm going to even say in that NFC, I'm going to say the Bears they may sneak in there just because of the way that division's falling in the line. Let's see, how many is that? 5, 4?
You got Packers, Seahawks, Bears, Bucks, Rams. I'm assuming you had the Rams. I'm assuming
and Rams, yeah, of course. That goes without saying. That goes without saying. And don't be surprised if the Niners can kind of sneak in there too.
Okay. And of course, I'm sure you're going to get the Eagles in there as well.
I'm sure you got.
Yeah, well, that's unspoken. Yeah, of course. The Eagles, but
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so Eagles, Rams, Niners, Packers, Bucks, Bears, and Seahawks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sheesh.
All right, RG, what you got over there?
Yeah, so obviously similar. Just get the big ones out the way. I got the Eagles winning the East. I got the Rams winning the West. Those are the kind of foregone conclusions. I feel like at this point, although Seattle potentially could give the Rams a little bit of run for their money, I just think the Rams are a more seasoned team, and I think they'll win that matchup. 9 times out of 10. As far now in the North and the South, it's where it starts to get really interesting for the North. I'm gonna take Detroit winning it.
Okay.
I know they're kind of not really, they're in third right now, obviously by that tie that Green Bay was able to get against Dallas. I don't believe in the Bears. The Bears are currently have a -6 point differential while leading the division, which is just mind-boggling because then you look at the Packers, who are +44, and the Lions are +76. So I just feel like those numbers are not going to hold the way that they are right now. Okay. I think the Bears are also 1-2 in the division. Granted, the Lions are as well, and the Packers have only had their one division game against the Lions in week 1. So those divisional games can absolutely, shuffle that division something fierce. So I think Detroit will come on top regardless after it's all said and done. And then in the South, I've already said, give me the Panthers. I truly believe that this division is only going to come down to the last 3 weeks of the season. Okay. Nothing matters up until that point because they play each other twice, like I mentioned in the last 3 weeks. Absolutely. So this entire division will come down to week 16, and then eventually it'll come down to week 18 as well. And then I think so I gave you my division winners. My wild card teams are Seattle, Green Bay, and Tampa.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. So you got 2 coming out of stuff. That's interesting.
I do. I mean, I did not expect the Panthers, to
say,
they're above 500 right now. Yeah, this is
-42 differential in points though.
They've got a pretty tough schedule coming up.
Rough, dude.
Hey, Tampa's only +2, man. So they're a rough game.
-42. That's ridiculous. The winning record. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I think that I clearly violated this pick on the Bears. I'm not buying. I love Caleb. Caleb's my guy. Like I said, hometown kid. From the program I coach. Love the kid. Wish him all the best. Hope he succeeds. But that schedule was tough for them down the stretch. I don't see it happening for them this year. But outside of that, I'm pretty because he got 3 coming out of the West. That's interesting. He had 3. He had a Seahawks. I'm talking about Niners picks. Yeah. He got 3 coming out of the West. He got the Seahawks, Niners, and the Rams coming out of the West. That's interesting.
It's possible.
It's very possible. It's very possible.
Somebody will be the wild card out of those, but that's the dog fight right there.
It really is. It's going to come down to it's going to come down to the margins in the divisional games for sure in that space. But yeah, hard to argue this. I mean, it just depends on what the Panthers do. I think the Bucks are out. Who I will put in the Bucks space outside of that, it has to be somebody from the North potentially. But to RG's point, I think the Panthers and the Bucks could both potentially make it, depending on if the North beats up on each other in a sense. Where clearly the Packers still have to play a bunch of divisional games in that space. So if they kind of beat up on each other, the Bucks by virtue of better record could supersede one of those teams in the North. So not bad.
That's actually such a great point. The Packers, we have 7 games left or 7 weeks of football left until
they got 5 divisional games.
They got 5 divisional games. That's insane.
It is insane.
Damn.
It is insane. Okay, good stuff. All right. Okay. AJ, you got any rebuttals to their lists?
No, I mean those are all the. I guess you guys both. Who had Detroit out? Someone had to. Did you both have Detroit out?
I had Detroit winning the division, actually.
I had Detroit out.
Yeah. I think that the North and the West are the 2 interesting ones.
It is.
Because, I mean, just looking at it, those are the ones that have 3 teams with winning records all right there. So, both of those are very realistic possibilities. It's going to be, fun to watch.
I tell you what, I don't like this Dan Campbell calling plays business. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it. That could have been the line in the sand. If his play calling does not, turn the tides and get him more towards what they look like at the beginning of the season, then that could be the interesting, footnote to say that why they don't make the playoffs.
I mean, it did look good. No, obviously not last week, but it is Philly.
It was against the Commanders.
Right, but that's obviously the first week he took over following that loss to Minnesota. So it's tough because it's like you had 1 week where it's probably one of the worst defenses and you lit up the scoreboard, and you faced one of the best defenses and you got shut down. So
I give him 2 more weeks.
Giants, Packers, Cowboys.
Yeah. And that big line for the Cowboys now is something, I'm telling you.
Well,
then we're getting Quentin Williams.
Well, they got Quinnen and Kenny Clark.
He's
Donovan is Araku playing good now. Yeah, Mozzie Smith
looking pretty good.
It's looking pretty good. I saw Diggy Zoo was still there. Mozzie got traded, but yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Okay, all right, AG.
They all look like Pro Bowlers yesterday, man.
They did. They were definitely hot after it for sure. Definitely hot after it. Okay. All right, AG, we're up. So what do you got making the playoffs from the AFC side?
Yeah, so division winners, unfortunately, I think you have to pencil Denver in as winning the West at this point, just with where they're at. I think Pats win the East. I guess we'll see here in a couple of weeks that fight against the Bills, but I think they win. I don't see the Colts losing the AFC South, so they're in. The AFC North, I think the Ravens win that outright.
Yeah, I agree.
With this, they've been riding hot. Rodgers just got hurt. Everyone else, Browns don't have an offense, and Bengals are whatever. So I see the Ravens winning that. My wild card teams, I'm going Bills. I think lock in as wild card.
Yep.
I'm gonna say the Jaguars make it.
Okay.
And then because this might be the last week that I can realistically say it, I'm saying the Chiefs make it as a wild card.
Okay, that's fair. Okay. Well, I think that's only 6, right?
That was 7.
You gave me 4 division winners and 2 wild cards. I need 3 wild cards.
I said Bills, Chiefs, and Jags.
Oh, you did say Bills. I'm sorry, because you had a pass winning division.
On,
that's fine. I'm so used to Bills winning division. I
know, it's crazy.
I'm sorry. Okay, so Broncos, Colts, Ravens, and Patriots as your division winners, and then you got the Bills, Jaguars, and Chiefs winning the wild cards, getting wild card spots. Okay,
that's it.
All right. Well, I'm definitely right there with you on the divisional because I think just with the lead they have, you gotta have an ultimate collapse without having to, to give up the division lead from everybody's perspective except for the Ravens. And the Ravens are the healthiest and playing the best football right now. And it doesn't look like it's changing because Rodgers is hurt. Going to try to play with a broken wrist. The Bengals are S show. And so are the Browns. But the Browns defense is legit. I wish that defense was playing for another team because that was football to talk about. If their defense was actually playing for a different team, like if they were on, who has a great offense and bad defense?
What did Myles Garrett? How many times did he sack Drake May in the loss? Like 5 or 6 times.
Right.
Something ridiculous.
Some ridiculous number. He's on an absolute tear. Just give him the defensive MVP award right now. Just lock it up.
He's on pace to break the single season sack record.
That's what I'm saying. So it's very unattainable. So so try and block that guy. But I definitely agree with you on the divisional winners. Hard to argue that Jags will be the next one to come out of the North potentially. But I don't know. I might be a little bit of a homer and say that, I think to RG's point earlier, until the Chiefs are absolutely positively eliminated, I'm going to give them a shot. So I'm going to say we get 3 out of the West. I'm going to say Broncos, Chiefs, and Chargers make it. So that would likely eliminate the Jags out of that conversation. So I would definitely say that the Bills make it as a wild card and the Chiefs and Chargers make it as a wild card as well. And I think that's how it lands 1 through 7 for me. I definitely share with your sentiments on the division winners for sure. And then just the only difference I have is the Jaguars not making the Chargers do. Apropos, we got dog walk by him this weekend.
Tell me about it. The only saving grace is the fact that we are still in a situation where if we win out, I can't even say that with a straight face.
I know, right?
But hypothetically, if the Chargers and the Jags were to both win out, from at this point on, the Chargers would still be a game
Ahead.
over the
Yeah.
Jags, even though they lost the head-to-head. So that is the only saving grace.
Yeah,
That
and the Jags have the tiebreaker over KC. So that's the other kick in the nuts there.
Well, the Jags
Yeah.
don't have a chance to get the tiebreaker head-to-head over everybody in the AFC West following their matchup with the Broncos. But I did see something along the lines of, because obviously the Chargers play the Broncos week 18. Somebody said it would be hilarious if last year when the Chiefs sat their players against the Broncos to essentially ensure Denver's in and eliminate Cincy, it would be so funny if in this same year Denver sat their starters against the Chargers if it was us and KC battling for that final wildcard spot to keep KC out of the playoffs and ensure we get in. Like, it would just be a total 180.
Full circle. Yeah. Yes, that's crazy. All right. So any I guess you could say rebuttals or any retorts in regards to our AFC picks? Like I said, the only person I had different was the Jags. He had the Jags and I had the Chargers making it, but outside of this, we're pretty spot on with our picks. Broncos, Colts, Ravens, Patriots, Bills, Jags or Chargers and Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, I think the AFC is definitely a lot more clear cut than the NFC. I think the division winners are pretty set right now, except Pittsburgh. I think we all agree that Pittsburgh is going to fall off, and the Ravens will probably reclaim their rightful spot atop the North. And then the wild cards, I mean, it's basically, like you said, Buffalo, the Chargers, Jacksonville, and KC. Because I mean, do we believe in Houston? What are our thoughts on Houston? I think they got a great defense.
Stroud's out again.
Stroud's out again. Yeah. So.
Really, it's do you believe in Houston or Pittsburgh? And I can't confidently say I have faith in either one of those.
Do I have to pick?
Do we have to pick out either one?
Yeah.
If the answer is Pittsburgh or Houston, I don't want to know what the question is.
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
Those are the only other teams on the bubble, really.
Yeah.
So
okay. Yeah, we'll see.
Miami's gonna make a push.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Miami wins out. Mike McDaniel's like, well, just we knew that we just needed to win.
Oh my god, man.
That's almost verbatim how his press conference.
One Mike McDaniel press conference, I can tell.
Yeah.
Now I'll tell you one thing. If Miami, if through sheer God's will, Miami makes a comeback and makes a playoff spot and kicks out one of us, Alex.
Oh man,
it's
gonna be a rough off season, and I mean rough.
You might have
I think it's gonna be rough anyway down in Miami. I think it's gonna be rough anyway.
Damn, man.
I might have to deactivate my Twitter if that happens.
Yeah,
dude,
taking a year off. See ya.
Oh man,
What is that?
When they say they're going on sabbatical.
Yeah, that part. Right. Yeah, you just put your account on reserve. You got that, whatever that checkbox is. You don't delete it, but you just you
put my out of office on.
Right, exactly.
Man.
Thank you for your inquiry. I'll talk to you in 2027.
Avatar will be a yellow flag out of office. That's for sure. Okay.
Man.
All right, so let's get into games of the week as we wrap the show up here. So there's some good ones on the slate here. Of course, we talk about the Colts and Chiefs games going on the docket, but there's some good games top to bottom. We talk about the Panthers; they got a good matchup going this week against the 49ers as well. So, the rivalry of all rivalries here, with the game ending in a tie early in the season, they're going to run it back. So the Eagles going to the Cowboys this week, and ironically enough, I had to double check and look at the line. If I would make sure I wasn't. That can't be right. Hold on.
It is correct. I just looked.
That's correct?
Yeah, for the Cowboys Eagles.
No, I have it backwards. No, I have it backwards.
It should be plus 3.5.
Eagles are
3.5. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Because the line went out last night, so I had to do it real quick, and I forgot that it was the wrong side. But yes, the Eagles are favored by 3.5 against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are at home. I do have the homes right, but yeah.
Make it a little plus sign in your head at home.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. The Cowboys are not favored. Just to be clear, they're not favored by 3.5. They're underdogs for 3.5. So All right, RG, who you got in this matchup and why?
Man, this is a tough one here because although the records say the Eagles should absolutely steamroll the Cowboys, with the way these teams have been playing lately, this game could absolutely go either way. I'm 1,000% taking the +3.5 with the Cowboys because this game could very well end with the Eagles kicking a walk-off field goal with the game tied. And at that point, you're still covering. So I love the 3.5 lines anytime I see them. Little hint towards our next matchup. But yeah, I definitely going to take the Cowboys +3.5. As far as I'm probably would take the Eagles to win this game, but this is about as a toss-up as it can get.
I'm looking forward to seeing how the defense is going to fare against the Lane Johnson O-line of the Eagles as well. So that's going to be a good one. That's for sure.
Not being talked about enough.
It's not. Opinion. It really is not. And we could argue because we talk about the Packers not necessarily being a division winner. Or did anybody have them to win a division? I think on the NFC side, did y'all have anybody winning the Packers winning the division?
I think Violator did.
I think Violator did, yeah.
Okay. Can you imagine if they don't make the playoffs at all, hypothetically?
Oh.
At
that point, if they don't make the playoffs, LaFleur, that seat instantly gets instantly higher.
Yeah. That's for sure. That's for sure. Okay. All right, Violator, who you got, Eagles or Cowboys?
I'm taking Eagles right here. The points don't really matter. I just think that they're personnel-wise, they're just a stronger team, and they can ground it out if they want to, or Jalen Hurts could light it up if he wants to, if they need to. So I'm taking the Eagles.
Over or under Jalen Carter gets ejected in this game?
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah.
Man, yeah.
He had a spitting good time last
year. I'm talking about the stupidest.
Oh, my God.
We've had 2 spitting incidents in the same year.
Coming out with the spit take.
Yeah.
What's the over-under on that replay being surfaced again when that game comes out?
Oh, you know it's coming out. You know, there has to be, and it's an early game. Let me double check.
No, I think isn't that a primetime game?
That was a 4:00 game. 4:00 game. Oh, 4:00 game. So yeah, I'm sure the pregame will be all over that conversation for sure. Oh yeah. Okay. All right, AG, who you got? Eagles or Cowboys?
I think this is one of the more interesting matchups of the week. But I got a feeling the Cowboys win this one. It was close last time. You know, Jalen Carter in or out, whatever. But
they also didn't have Trent Williams in that game either.
Yeah, and Cowboys have made some moves to retool. I mean, their offense is pretty high-powered. Philly's offense has been so lackluster, and they lost Lane Johnson, and maybe it's the former offensive lineman in me, but I think that's going to be a little overlooked in how serious of a problem that can be for just how bad it already looked.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they haven't been very good at running the ball either. So, and obviously Cowboys have made a lot of moves to beef up their run defense, and they're pretty good against the run. So, if you take that away from Philly, then you're putting it all on Jalen Hurts, and I mean he hasn't really been able to do that. So I feel like the Cowboys win, but I don't know that I'm taking the points on it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually interested to see a lot in this game because DeMar and Overshown came back last week. He's healthy now. They got Quinnen, like I said, with Ozzie and Kenny Clark next to him, and then Donovan Izaraku is come on. Yeah, I'm curious to see how this defense fares against that putrid, Eagles offense. Because again, I was wondering, that was one of the headlines for the short. I said, can the Eagles be a real legit contender with a snooze fest offense? And I'm not sure. And this could be the game that really kind of pinpoint the idea that they may not be it with that offense. So, healthy corners at this point. Deron Bland's healthy. It's a lot of meat on the bone in this matchup. I think I'm gonna go Cowboys. Just the fact that they're the underdogs, all they got to do is not, cover the spread. Yeah, they might even win outright. I think it's gonna come down to D-line. What D-line plays better? Cowboys D-line or the Eagles D-line? That's going to determine who wins this game because running the ball on either side is going to be a task. It's going to be a task, and that's what they like. That's what they both like to cut their teeth at. But again, and can the Cowboys throw the ball on that secondary of the Eagles is the question too. That's for sure. Jalen Phillips playing well too for the Eagles, so I like that.
Yeah,
he's playing well for them.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, he is. That's for sure. Okay. All right, so we got Colts and Chiefs. AG, I kind of know what you're doing here, but I want to point out the fact that this is a highly touted matchup, and the Chiefs, Vegas hadn't gave up on the Chiefs either because they got by 3.5 favorites in this matchup. So
yeah,
they feel like we feel until they're out. They still think they got a shot. So how do you feel about this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I got the Chiefs winning, and I think they win by more than 3.5 points. Because, like I said, kind of through a few segments now, I think Indianapolis has kind of been teetering down. I think they forced some turnovers out of Daniel Jones. Chiefs defense is pretty elite at stopping the run, and that's what Indy is. That's when they're good, when they can run. So I feel pretty good that the Chiefs can, if they can cap in Jonathan Taylor as best they can, that they're going to be in a good place to win. And like I said, I'm picking them because they have to win. So
right.
It's a must-win game for them.
Okay. All right, Violetta, who you got? Colts or Chiefs?
Chiefs, just because, like you said earlier, their backs are against the wall, and I think Daniel Jones is going to feel a lot of heat right up the middle at him. So, and if they shut down Taylor, they're pretty much one-dimensional now to me. But if they take Taylor out of the game, it's a wrap. And that 3.5 points that's a mute point.
Yeah, I agree. And then Daniel Jones, we've seen how he was when Jonathan Taylor wasn't cooking. So that tells you a lot about that matchup as well. So I like it. All right, RG, who you got? Colts or Chiefs?
I'm taking the Colts plus 3.5 just because the Chiefs have been in one-score games constantly all year long. Whether they are on the winning side of it or not, I think like I mentioned in the last matchup, with the 3.5, getting that last-second field goal in a tie game is you want a tie game basically with like 2 minutes left to go because you're just banking on a team kicking a field goal to walk you off. You still cover regardless. Colts coming off a bye week. And they, like Ref mentioned earlier in the show, they are still the number one offense in terms of yards per game, even after their bye week. The Chiefs, like Alex mentioned, they have a pretty stout run defense. They are actually, funny enough, they are allowing 100 yards flat, like even per game. So I think that's a very telling sign for the Colts this time around. You probably want Jonathan Taylor alone getting 100 yards rushing. So obviously you probably want Danny Dimes or Indiana Jones, whatever moniker you want to use for him. You probably want him getting out in space as well, using his legs because he can easily pick up a couple first downs as well. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game regardless. I'll take the plus 3.5 for the Colts, just because the Chiefs are more desperate. But yeah, if they're able to shut down JT, this game could get ugly really quick.
I like it. So yeah, the Chiefs are definitely back against the wall, more sense of urgency. Colts come off a bye. It'd be interesting to see how they respond after a bye week. Are they coming off a loss from the bye week?
They beat Atlanta. It was just
okay,
ugly win.
A little sloppy.
That overseas game. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, the JC went off in that game. So yeah, okay. So all your points you said, I think that the Colts was, kind of limit JT, and that'll kind of feed the narrative that Daniel Jones is only as good as Jonathan Taylor, is and isn't. How he can work the play action game and get the ball down the field because Jonathan Taylor is the focal point. So yeah, I like the Chiefs in this matchup as well. 3.5 is a lot, but yeah. If I was a bet man, I'd probably take the points with the Colts just because I like RG. I like the 3.5 line, but yeah, I definitely think the Chiefs win for sure. All right, Buccaneers versus the Rams. We've been talking about both teams in a lot of spaces. Rams still riding high. 6.5 is a lot. Even at home.
7 now.
It's 7 now.
ESPN, at least.
7. Okay, a whole touchdown. So
yeah.
All right, RG. What you like with this one? I think you probably take the Bucs with the points, but I'm going to let you speak on it.
Yeah, if it's at 7 now, I'm easily taking the Bucs plus 7 because as good as the Rams are, I don't think they're a touchdown better than the Bucs on paper. Maybe with injuries you can make the argument, but I still think the Bucs are, again, they're another team that is just constantly in these one-score tight games. Yeah. So I don't know how you can give a full touchdown to a game that's probably going to be nip and tuck. I wouldn't be shocked if we got a game kind of similar to the Tampa Bay Bills game last week where it's very, very close kind of, the whole time. And then, maybe one team kind of pulls away maybe at the end, and that's how you get your cover. But 7 points is way too much here. So I'll take Bucks +7, even though I probably like the Rams to win this game.
I like it. Okay. All right, Violet, who you got? Bucks and Rams?
I'm going to take the Rams in this one. And I'm going to give them the edge first of all, for home field and coaching. I think they have the edge in coaching. So they'll be able to figure out whatever they need to do. They've got the talent on the team, and they're more balanced, I think, than Tampa Bay right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I know Todd Bowles is no slouch, but I definitely think Sean McVay's in his bag right now, coaching-wise.
Yeah.
I definitely believe that for sure. I believe that, definitely. All right, AG, who you got, Buccaneers and Rams?
I got the Rams, but I share the same sentiments that young Padawan RG does, and I think that it's a closer game than the 7 points for sure. So,
yeah.
But I see the Rams winning.
Yeah, my bets are taking the Cowboys with that line, the Colts with that line, the Buccaneers, just off the line themselves. I'm taking those 3 bets, but I definitely believe that the home teams win all 3 of those matchups for sure. Okay. All right, so we got of course I'm on the Rams because that's feed my narrative about my hot take for the season. So yeah, I'm definitely routing the Rams. Though. Yeah, I had to point that out. All right, last matchup of the week: Panthers at the Niners, and the Niners are favored by 7. Ironically enough, another hard loss.
Changed too, I think.
What is it?
ESPN's got 6.5 now.
Oh, it's lower now. Okay, it's lower. Okay. Quickly things change, right? So okay,
that's so crazy.
So we got AG Panthers of 49ers.
I'm gonna pick with my heart on this one. I'm gonna go with the Panthers.
Oh, okay.
Hell yeah, AG. Love it.
There you go. Feed the narrative. I love it.
Bryce Young's going to come out swinging. He's going to complete 48 passes. And no, I'm kidding about that part.
All right, AG. I was with you, and then you lost me.
Yeah. You gave me an inch. I took a mile there. Yeah. My bad. Panthers, though. I got Panthers winning.
I like it. Okay. Violator, who you got? Panthers or 49ers?
I got Panthers and an upset.
Oh, okay. Well, upset minded. Let's go.
I love the pod right now, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. Panthers all the way, baby.
Yeah, give me that +7. I want
Let's go.
Woo! 14
Panthers to the moon.
Let's go. I like it. +7 with the Panthers. Heck yeah. Give me that all day. I love it.
Kitty go meow.
Yes, again, bring it back. He brings it back. Love it. Love it.
You might need to start a Panthers pod. Just name it that. What's that? The meow whatever people they quit.
Oh man! No, didn't you hear they started back up again?
I'm sure they did. Of course they did. Probably had their first episode of I think the team saw our post and decided to play good.
They shut down the pod and
immediately. Meow mix or whatever your thing was.
They shut that pod down and immediately the 30-0 shutout of Atlanta happened.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Right. That's their good luck charm. Them shut down the pod. Yep. Yeah, keep it shut down. We'll keep winning. I like it. Okay. All right. Good stuff. All right.
It's like that bye week. You can't lose on a bye week. So
that's a fact.
Same scenario, same philosophy, right there.
It is. Yep. Yeah. Good luck charm. Indeed. All right, so as we wrap up the pod, we like to do our fourth and final segment, hot takes of the week. So does anybody got anything cooking in their crock pot that's a hot take for the week, the season? Let me know and let the fans know, let everybody know out there that's listening and watching this on replay. How do you feel about anything that's brewing that's could be, controversial, completely out there, outlandish that might, just happen to permeate and come to true? Please let us know what you got brewing. Anybody, any takes?
I got kind of a somewhat hot take. It is technically an upset pick for the week, but it is a pretty, heavy upset, I would consider, considering that the Bills are favored by 6 points. But I'm going to take the Texans to upset the Bills on Thursday Night Football. It's a short week.
Bills? Ooh.
Yep, it's a short week. Texans defense is, again, arguably one of the best in football. I think, if you want to look at a team that, people look at Denver like, oh, great defense, no offense. I think the Texans might be that to the, umpth degree, especially with CJ Stroud out. I think the Texans can keep that game very ugly. The over under to that is 43.5. I am spamming the under to all hell. Short week. I mean, it's always low scoring Thursday night games. One great defense. Yeah, I think this could be. I think the Texans, if they're able to pull off this win, following last week's, last week's win against the Titans, and then obviously that huge comeback they had against the Jags, you're able to win this one against the Bills. That's 3 in a row. You're 6-5, right there firmly in the playoff, wild card mix. Hey, it's Texans fans. This could be a big week for you guys.
Oh, I like it. Okay. Well, yeah, I got a bit of a hot take, and I'm just really just shoveling dirt on the Vikings grave here, as I've been doing for the last few weeks. But I got a conversational piece that kind of will be talking about more so in the offseason, but it's a little bit of a hot take that if Kevin O'Connell doubles down on the idea that he's going to keep J.J. McCarthy as quarterback at the end of the season, that Justin Jefferson will request a trade.
I like that one.
Yeah.
He probably already doing that.
He might be.
Jetta or something. What's going on? Because I feel like that seems very
I've seen some
plausible.
of those expressions, and he's not happy with.
Hell no.
No.
You know where I could see him going?
Kansas City. No,
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
I could 1,000% see him going to Pittsburgh. Because Pittsburgh is you're in a division where it's constant constant turnover, constant just brutal football amongst all the teams there.
Yeah.
I think Justin Jefferson has that attitude of a George Pickens, maybe not to that degree, I think no.
Yeah.
He definitely not. But I think he's got enough diva in him where he's your clear-cut number one. He would instantly revolve that wide receiver room opposite of DK for any quarterback that is coming in.
They can afford both of them, though.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
It's two of the top paid wide receivers in the whole league.
The Bengals are doing it.
Here's my add-on. Yeah, I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. Bengals trade T. Higgins to the Vikings for Jefferson. And then they just combine the 2019 LSU offense and say, hey, who needs a defense when you got this?
Where's Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Yeah. He's on to Kansas City. We'll send him over there. Come on.
Let's go. Why not bring Ed Orgeron out of retirement too?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
I was trying to do an Ed there. Yeah,
I don't think
I don't think anyone could do that.
Just him, just Ed alone. Yes,
there's only one Ed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Not Ed Mitchell either. We're talking about Ed.
No,
Yeah.
That's Ed Word.
Yes, he's Edward. Yes, he's Edward. Yes, indeed. Okay, fair enough. Okay, all right. Any more hot takes? I mean, that was some good ones there. There was some good ones there.
Yeah, that was a good one. The receivers. Yeah.
What do y'all think about the Pittsburgh-Chicago game? Do y'all think Pittsburgh got a chance to upset Chicago in Chicago?
I could see it.
Absolutely.
If I mean, it all depends on Caleb Williams and their defense, because they played Indy, they had 6 turnovers. If they get something like that, they could definitely be in it. But I'm not confident in Aaron Rodgers and his ability with the wrist. Like it's the same dude that tried to fool all of America that he was going to come back in the same year after tearing his Achilles. So I think that ayahuasca has gotten to him a little too much on his body's abilities. It's like he thinks he's Wolverine or something, like.
It was a meme on Twitter I saw before the show started. Said that we're getting Percocet Aaron this weekend.
Get it out there, and
it was Aaron all disheveled hair all out of place. It was
Perk Aaron.
Perk Aaron, yes, Perk Aaron.
Perk Rodgers. Yeah, that's an interesting one though.
Yeah.
I think the Steelers are the type of team where, like Alex's point, they could because they could just generate 4 turnovers in a moment's notice, and if you do that, you can win any game. You're turning any team over 4 times. You're right in there. But I think they're also the same exact team where they could lay an egg like they did against the Chargers, and they absolutely have that type of game in them as well. So this game could very well.
It is week to week. Like you play good against the Colts, you play bad against the Chargers. You played good last week. Now all of a sudden you could lay an egg this week. So who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
What are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
That is the hot take right there. It's a week to week league, and
yes.
I'm as a fan, I'm enjoying it because it's never boring at all. It's always something, or somebody surging and somebody descending.
Right.
So it's all about balancing the scale. So we'll see, like say, week 18 where everybody stands. Man. It's going to be very interesting.
I love it. And what a better time to be partying on this particular topic in this particular season.
Week 18 might be the craziest. We might have one of the craziest week 18s of any NFL season this year.
A lot on the line, I believe.
The divisions are so close.
Yeah, they're going to be a lot on the line come 17 and 18 for sure, because both weeks are flex weeks. They'll have any time for each weeks. Yeah.
And I think week 18, it's division
solely
games.
division games.
All of it. And they did it on purpose.
Oh yeah,
on purpose. Yeah, they
start the playoffs early.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Especially the first round of the playoffs. Let's get it. Yeah.
We already know one of these divisional matchups is going to be for the division, and that'll be the last regular game of the season.
One on the road. Yep. There you go.
Absolutely.
Indeed. Okay.
Nielsen will be the hot topic because he'll have the highest ratings of everybody.
That's for sure. We be tuned in, locked in, for sure. And it's all week, all that weekend. They don't have Monday night games on the last week, so it's all weekend stuff. Yeah,
Jam-packed Sunday, baby.
Indeed.
Saturday and Sunday. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So that's going to do it for us this week. We appreciate everybody that came through the chat and watching this live. And if you check us out on replay, as always, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so on the YouTube channel, Locked On Divas Sports Network, as always. And if you're looking for the Hit Squad in any facet, you hit them up on social media. You got any Commanders questions, hit up Mike Dub on his Twitter or Instagram. Hit up the Real AG on his Twitter or Instagram accounts as well. Any Chiefs questions, our guy, Young RG, our Chargers Insider, hit him up on Twitter. If you're looking for anybody in that particular space. If you look for the NFL Nation Live crew, we had Ref Guru on earlier. Hit him up on Twitter if you have any referee questions. Hit up Violator for any Raiders superfan questions. Hit him up on Twitter. Hit up Captain Jack, who is not here. He'll be with us in spirit this week as well. You hit him up on Twitter, Instagram, or his YouTube channel, so you can reach him in that space. If you're looking for the Locked On Divas Sports Network in its entirety, we're on pretty much all platforms that you get your smartphone will get you to. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. We even have a Gmail account, so if you need to email us any details or any brand deals, you can also do that as well. A shameless plug. So we'll be on the lookout for that. If anybody wants to drop us a line. For our subsidiary channels, if you're looking for any in all Chargers news, the Electric Truck Podcast is available to you on all facets, pretty much all the platforms as well. Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Hit that subscribe button on that channel if you're any Chargers fans or love to hear about Chargers news. Hit us up on that. Myself and Young RG cover the Chargers in that space. If you're looking for any fantasy football news each and every week, you can look out for the Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Network. We do fantasy football, myself and the Real AG. We do fantasy football on that particular network. We have a YouTube channel, TikTok, Twitch, Facebook, and Instagram as well as a Gmail. Lightning Fast FF on all platforms in that space. So hit us up if you have any fantasy football questions. The playoffs are getting close for fantasy football, so we're gearing up for that. So if you need any advice to get you to the playoffs, please hit us up, and we'll be live tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Lightning Fast Network to drop our live show as we do every week throughout the regular season. So that's going to do it for us. So any final parting words or thoughts before we get about here, gentlemen?
We still don't know anything.
And next week, we'll know less.
Yeah.
Even less.
Absolutely.
Less. Have a good night, Ed. Appreciate you.
No, good show. Good show, boys. Good to have the crew back.
For sure.
I'm looking forward to seeing Shedeur in person come Sunday.
Yes.
And see how he handles his second start.
With some actual reps. Yeah, I agree with that as well. With some first team reps for sure.
Yeah.
Really looking to see how that goes. But I still believe that Stefanski doesn't want him to succeed, so it might not go well, but we'll see. We'll see. That's just my
personal. You saying that fantasy's rigged too? Come on, man. Come on.
We'll see. But
if the shoe fits.
Yeah, I think Stefanski has it out for Shedeur personally. I think the owner wanted the GM and him didn't, but that's just my conspiracy brain. That's just my conspiracy brain. But we'll see. Hopefully he does well, though. Definitely root for him.
There's got to be some truth to that because, like, what team takes 2 quarterbacks in the same draft?
Exactly.
I don't think that's ever happened.
Right. And you take a shorter, less stout quarterback before Shedeur, who nobody had on their board going no less than the 5th or 6th round.
Who's left-handed?
Yeah, that too. You draft a more mobile Tua Tagovailoa, in my opinion, but that's what it is. Yeah, but it is what it is. But as always, man, like I said, we'll be back next week. Check out our content all week long for the Lockdown Divas Sports Network. Like I said, we drop our videos each and every day at 3 o'clock, as well as our live show at 9 p.m. on Tuesday nights, right here on Lockdown Divas Sports Network. Hit that subscribe button as always, man. And we'll be back next week with another breaking NFL week for week 12 and getting into 13. But in the meantime, between time, that is young RG Robert Garcia. That is the Violator himself. That is the real AG Alex Gibbons. And I'm Coach Defense. Until next week, we'll see you when we see you. Step up and lock.